Hello, I'm Ravik Hunter, and we are Legends on Paper, an eclectic group of longtime gamers with a passion for Dungeons & Dragons. We're not voice actors, professional gamers, or paid performers. We are regular people just like you, except that we will probably make complete fools of ourselves as we attempt to have fun and entertain. If you enjoyed tonight's production, please follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our channels on Twitch and YouTube. To find out more about us, please visit www.legendsonpaper.com. And don't forget, most importantly, to tell all your friends. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey as Legends on Paper presents the greatest adventure.
Dearest Aja, this journey I have undertaken both frightens and exhilarates me daily. After the horrors of the arena, something inside of me has unlocked itself. I feel stronger, more capable, my mind able to focus itself in new directions and closer to you than ever. We cleared the city easily, found horses, affordable too, once I taught them how to negotiate. They are children, Aja, but they do learn quickly. The Atlantean Nihilus fits the mold for a leader nicely. That bird scared me. But he does lack the will to step fully into the rule. He serves more than one master, though, so I must be gentle with my prodding. Styx seemed eager to please. Maybe to fit in somewhere? But his undisciplined greed now has him threatened on many fronts. And I want to cry when I see the poor boy hiding his face in broad daylight. It's very sad. Jolo, on the other hand, is an ape. He is loud and crude and boorish and arrogant with an overinflated sense of self-worth. But the fates have brought us together. I am smitten. That mustache, those eyes, those pants. It is a daily struggle deciding whether I want to kiss him or kill him in his sleep. And then there is Nim. She is young and brash, foolhardy even. But I do see myself in her. I feel so bad for what we have done to her forests and her world. So I've decided to keep her at arm's length for now. I'd not get close and lose her too. Our travels started with fair skies, but they deteriorated quickly the closer we get to our goal, and I have to wonder if that is a sign. Perhaps the best thing that has happened was a brief dalliance with a forest troll, for it did give me another clue in my search for Merlin. I'll burn this letter now and pray these words and ashes find you wherever you are. Your loving sister, Hildegard.
All right, so welcome back, everybody, to session number 5, as we pick up with our fearless rogue in the grip of a troll that has come back to consciousness. With the regeneration that's inherent to its particular species, that has brought the thing back to life as Styx was searching what he thought was a dead corpse. And as its eyes opened wide, red glowing orbs bearing into him, claws coming up, attempting to grasp at him, but he was able to react with shield and push those away, deflect that attack, but it wasn't quite good enough for the massive jaws were filled with teeth coming up and getting a good portion of his face and his mouth. And that's where we pick up this session. And as it was a surprise attack, that Styx was not expecting, nor was anybody else. I believe Nim was cleaning her sword, and Nihilus was trying to find some wood, breaking it off from the cart and whatnot to create a fire. Jolo was still recovering from the attack from the troll just around earlier, being healed by Hildy, and that's when
Hildy was screaming, "Burn it, burn it!"
Yes, but nobody was listening, and unfortunately, or at least not listening fast enough, as we begin the session with Styx
Quick question.
straddling this troll and dealing with the aftermath of a blow to the face. Question.
When we were coming up and the troll was hiding behind the wagon,
Mm-hmm.
we could see the faint glow and smell a campfire. So there's already a fire burning back here behind this wagon?
No, not behind the wagon. You saw it off to the left in a separate area that looked covered with rocks, and there were trees and brush. You didn't get a good look at it, and it was just a faint glow that looked like a campfire, or the glow of the charcoals of a campfire, that sort of thing, embers and whatnot. So nothing enough to illuminate much of anything, just to be barely able to see it. So we're going to start off this session by rolling initiative with this troll.
That's a great way to start.
Yeah.
I have to roll high, otherwise I'm gonna die.
That's how it's done, son.
We tied.
Could have been better.
So it sticks his face deformed. Jolo's the pretty one now, right?
Yeah, you can certainly say
Oh,
that.
Jolo was the pretty one before.
I'm not deformed.
Just blinded.
That remains to be seen.
Altered. Enhanced.
Okay. All right. So anybody over 20? Anybody over 15?
17.
Okay. All right. Nim. All right. Over 10.
14.
Okay. And you get Styx. Wow. You guys in these initiative rolls. I'm gonna have to start much lower. Above 5.
6.
Okay. We got,
I also got 6.
okay. What's your dexterity? I bet yours is more than Hildy.
17.
17? Hildy?
13.
Okay, all right, so it'll be minus, and then Hildy, I'm guessing. Adam, bring it up the rear.
I'm looking at all my compatriots and I count 5 of them, so 5 is what I rolled.
Plus the troll.
Well, I'm not rolling one for him.
No,
But you
I
only
got
have
that
4
covered.
compatriots.
I'm not worried about the details. I'm a
Well,
big
good news-
picture thinker.
Good news for you, Nim is at the top of the turn order. And Nim, you're about, with a little bit of difficult terrain in between you and the troll, you're 30 feet away from the troll right now. You're
I'm
have to
going
kinda
to use
push
my
by-
movement
Okay,
to get to the troll.
okay, so you're gonna move right up on him, as he's basically still considered in a prone condition, but he is kind of lifting up at this point, sitting up with sticks in in the grasp of his jaws. You can see the blood running down Styx's face and cloak.
Did Nihilus succeed last week in making a campfire on top of him or not?
No, he needed something to actually combust, something to burn. And so that's why he was pulling the wood off the cart.
Okay, I'm going to take out a flask of oil and sprinkle it across the troll.
Okay. So you're basically going to try and cast oil over the troll?
Correct.
All right, that's not a huge DC issue, so go ahead and roll in athletics or acrobatics, whatever you prefer. It is your action, by the way.
Yeah. 18.
Okay, yeah, so you're able to douse it pretty well with oil from the vial or canister that you're carrying it in. You also get a little bit of sticks in that as well. But,
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else from them?
That's all. I'll wait there.
Okay. Styx, you're a little bit surprised that you've just been, your face has just been sucked off by the troll. He's actually released his grasp of you, from his mouth, and so you're not grappled or stuck within his jaw at this point. Probably a little miffed that you just got oil, splashed on you as Nim tossed it over the troll as well. What are you going to do?
Oh, I go before the troll. Great. I am going to hold the pouch in my left hand, pull out my rapier. I guess I already had it, and take a swing at him.
Okay.
As I cast Spooning Blade.
All right.
I'm going to chant in Bluo Arma Ditamultum. And I will hit with a 18.
18 hits. And it's at advantage, by the way, because he is technically prone.
Alright, no better. And Nin is adjacent, correct?
Correct.
So I will get my backstab. And that is a 15.
15, okay. So as you thrust your rapier back down into the maw of this huge creature that's rising up, and at the same time retracting its head backwards as it is preparing to stand up, shoving your rapier back down through it, it collapses once more, and you see it convulse and go unconscious. Now, as anything else from you?
Then I will.
Oh, he froze.
Just the fear makes us all
He's
freeze
frozen with
sometimes.
fear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably assume that he's gonna jump off the troll and move. So we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and go ahead and move him probably 15 or 20 feet away from the where he can easily come back if he wants.
And the troll's not moving right now, so it doesn't get
Well,
back
not
to
at the end of
attack?
Styx's turn, as it kind of fell back into place. But now is the troll's turn. And as his turn comes up, you watch as the retracted blade that Styx took with him, you see the blood gushing out of its mouth, its eyes open once again, bearing those huge red orbs. Its body begins to rise up. It does use half its movement to stand up, so you can stand the thing up. And at this point, he's kind of surrounded. He's got Nim on one side. He's got Styx that he's looking at that just shoved a rapier in his down his throat. Not too concerned about Jolo. And then the others that are around. So he's going to.
Hey, Ravik?
Yes.
Before I got pulled in the void, did you hear that I said I wanted to disengage and move back 10 feet?
Yeah, we did. That's exactly what we did. We figured you didn't want to ride the thing, so.
But as my character did, he said, F this, and he turned around and walked away.
Yeah, pretty much said that too. Yeah, we know his character too well already. Okay. So yeah, he rises up, and he's looking for a new ragdoll. And the first one that comes to mind, of course, is Jolo.
Wait, you just said he turned around and wasn't even thinking about Joel.
Oh no, I didn't say he wasn't thinking, he just wasn't concerned about him, and so that's why he chooses Jolo.
I don't know if I like this.
So he reaches out and tries to grab you, and holy shit, a natural 1.
Does that mean a D30 is coming out?
How quick you are with the D30s. Man.
I'm on it.
Somebody else rolling.
We remembered this week.
Yeah. Planned ahead.
A critical miss. I'm going to roll that D30.
Roll a 1.
And as it finally stops.
May all of my enemies fall apart like this.
Okay.
Fall apart like Styx's face.
Yeah, so as it twists around to grab Jolo, missing miserably, it's kind of lost balance, and you hear kind of yelp from the pain and a bit of a hobble as you realize that he's kind of giving himself a Charlie horse by that quick movement, which could be some dexterity issues if he had to worry about that. But he's moving at this point, and he's attempting to take his movement away from you, which means Jolo and Nim will have an opportunity attack on him.
Which way is he?
He's bounding away from yes, that way,
Okay.
which would be, I guess, technically south. So he's going to move full 30 if he can. So let's see where
Yeah, so I was
what
wondering.
happens with Nim and Jolo. Go ahead and make your attacks.
Ladies first.
Can Nim Can Nim use her torch and try and light the troll on fire?
Is her torch lit already?
No, but I can use an action to do that.
Okay. Yep. you
Doing
can
it.
certainly- All right. So you're able to light it. Bring out your flint or whatever and quickly light it. But you'd have to have another action to actually throw the torch and hit the thing.
I'm standing right next to him. Can I just lean over?
Right, but you only get one opportunity attack. And really, you probably
She's raging.
wouldn't even be able to light the torch with that, but I gave you that. It's lit, but that's as much as you can do with it.
Okay, I lit the torch.
You lit the torch. Jolo.
Yeah. Thanks, Nim. It's all on Jello again. As it happens, I don't like to talk about this, but I felt a little bit of a burning recently. This time on my hands, though. Burning hands.
Spells are not opportunity attack eligible. It has to be a melee attack.
Smack it with your mace.
Unless you have Warcaster, which you don't, since you're only second level, so.
Okay, fine.
And you're cleric, so.
As it happens, I do have a mace. I haven't had much luck with it.
Tonight's your night.
It's my night. Let's see.
That'll be a 20.
This 20?
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The blue one?
Yeah.
This is the one. 14 plus 1. That'd be 15 by my
15.
logic.
Barely hits.
That's the best kind of hits.
It's it, I guess so.
So I'm about to do my massive 1d6 minus 1.
If it wasn't for that Charlie horse, you would have missed.
I know a little something about horses.
The gods of the
Palomino,
D30 were in your favor tonight, so far.
I'm a cleric, of course.
How do you get a -1?
By having crappy strength.
Pretty much.
Dexterity. Oh, you?
Yeah, I'm not very strong. Someone even called me frail. I think last
I said he was buff.
I look buff. That's the key thing.
Are they implants?
I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. But let's just say.
Is that a 9 for damage?
Well, it looks like a 3. What's 3 minus 1? 2.
What, 1d6, guys? Didn't you say
Minus
1d6?
Okay. So you nick it as it charges away.
I'm going to point out this is twice as good as my last mace attack.
It is.
At this rate, I'm going to be like one mace man.
How much does it think? Crap. I'm going to have to kill it now.
All right, so you do a whopping 2 points of damage as it leaps away.
Hear that
and
whopping?
It will move its full 30 as there's nobody else that has an opportunity to attack on it. But that brings up Nihilus, who's got a wicked bow.
Okay, a couple questions. How far, since he's off the screen from what I can see,
Yeah, let me.
how far is he from Nihilus?
Hang on.
He would be about pretty much his full distance, and I'll do an overhead.
Okay, so Dan, 20. That's about his full distance.
And that hardly gets it.
He's farther than 30, then I'm guessing.
He's 30 plus.
15, 20. He's about 40.
Yep.
Okay. Nihilus, assuming he was able to collect any sort of busted boards and wood planks from the cart, he's going to just drop them and pull out an arrow and just shoot real fast
Okay.
at the troll.
Yeah, I imagine he would
And I'm
have.
assuming, or go ahead.
No, I was just going to confirm. I imagine he would have been able to grab a few boards off the rickety cart.
Okay. How long has it been since he ran into or since we saw him in the cart?
Behind the cart?
No, initially when he took off.
On the road.
Yes.
I think it's been only 6 or 7 rounds. No, there was some
Okay.
movement in there too, so it's probably close to 10.
Okay. So 22 to hit?
That hits.
Yay.
Now he does have a little bit of cover
He-
because now he's kind of getting into the trees. But you hit him.
Okay.
You said south.
Okay,
That was back into the field that we ran through. So
Right,
he-
but there were trees and so forth. So between the
road.
field, it was just the sidebar of the road that you ran through, and then he entered the forest, which
Gotcha.
was lightly treed and then more heavier with
Okay.
rocks and such. So he'll be...
Nihilus is going to focus his ire and mental acuities on the troll as it's running away, and he's going to use one of his favored foe instances. And that'll be a whopping 8 points of piercing damage.
Okay. So the one arrow, striking true, right between the creature's shoulder blades, you have to kind of stumble forward and then go flat on the ground. Once again, a little bit of convulsing. It's like, fucking again. And as it hits the ground, and then goes still.
He'll yell out to Styx and say, "Use your fire on him," and then that's it for him.
Okay, it's going to bring up Hildy.
Hildy is going to pursue with her horse. She's still lit up, so she can see. And when she gets 15 feet or so from it, she is going to whisper dissonantly at him how much she hates him.
Okay.
So he needs to make a wisdom save versus 12.
Does he have to be awake?
Can he if he's unconscious?
You're assuming he's unconscious.
Okay,
Go to roll your damage.
true.
I have already 6, please. A good one.
I don't have a good one.
5, 6, 7, 9 points.
Okay. Now, and also with that, if he were to fail,
If he were to
he
fail,
would run, correct?
he takes 9 points, and if he is able to, he has to move as far away from me as he can.
Okay. Yeah. So is this psychic damage?
Yes.
All right. So you notice no reaction whatsoever from the figure on the ground. So he doesn't react to pain, and he doesn't attempt to run. But he is flat prone and unmoving. Anything else from Hildy?
He's unmoving. Does that take us out of initiative?
No, I'm going to finish the initiative.
Oh. Then Hildy is going to use the rest of her movement to close on him, intent on finishing the job Nim started.
Okay. All right, Jolo.
So Jolo's kind of wondering. I'm wondering right now why Nihilus told Styx to use his fire when I get to go first, and I've got my burning hands. But that's fine. Just
Because he's
I'm
never
one of
seen
you.
use that.
Think of me as just like a normal person. That's fine.
We've never seen Jolo
Then do
cast anything
Do
with
it.
fire yet.
I've got burning things. That's what I'm saying. I feel burning.
All right.
So I need.
He's been rash, you should get it checked out.
I think it's going to take us an entire round just to explain this.
Yeah. So I have to
So we're
make sure
back to
not
Styx
to
again?
burn the old lady. What's that?
I'm not on him.
5, 10, 15, 20. We should be safe there if I go here. Oops. 5, 10. There. And I'm going to use my famous burning hands.
Is it famous?
It will be famous momentarily, which is a saving of Dex 13.
Okay, well, he's going to fail because he is lying on the ground, unmoving at this point.
Well done. You hit a stationary target.
And
I've seen people fail to do that.
there's also, I mean, although you don't see it on the board, there are a few trees and whatnot around, and so you watch as those combust and flame. I mean, not to the point that they are incinerated or they're falling all over the place, because it's a powerful spell, but it's not that powerful. It's going to destroy the forest that you cast it in. But the fire washes over the creature. That's the 15-foot cone that we were talking about earlier, right?
It is.
Okay, so how did you cast that specifically? I mean,
To miss me.
Yeah, I intentionally did, and I pointed out verbally that I was not going to.
okay, just want to make sure you were clear on that. Not taking Hildy and her horse with you.
Yeah. Well, maybe the
Fat like
horse.
that.
I think the fat one would go up quickly, right? All that little grease in there.
Yeah, maybe.
That does burn.
All right. Yeah, we'll give that to you. Since nothing else substantial in the way, and the flames wash over this creature as well, and you can smell the putrid stink of the fire burning its flesh, its stinking flesh. It was stinking to begin with. Again, it doesn't move, but it's vulnerable to this fire as you watch it just scorch and burn over it until the spell ends and the burning, retracts and is no longer cast. And what's left is basically the ashen hide of this troll. that remains unmoving. And we're going to go ahead and take us out.
It's the second time I took that guy down.
And just in case he does come back up, was there any extra damage for the oil?
Yes, as a matter of fact, good point. The oil would keep it burning for a while, actually. I think it's 1 to 6 rounds per vial. Is that correct, Nim?
Yeah, I think it's +5 damage.
And
if I'm
the
not
additional
mistaken.
damage? But it's not so important the damage you're doing, but that you're consuming it with fire. It's carcass with fire, because trolls, as you're finding out, they're hard to keep dead. So yeah, that's going to keep it. That's going to actually fan the flames, and they're going to burn for another 5 or 6 rounds, consuming its carcass and sending up this black, oily smoke. Just another thing to add to Jolo's outfit with the prevailing winds, and also over Hildy and her horse as well, unless she moves out of the way.
So no longer pink. It's pink plus a bit of black.
Yeah, like an oily
Black accents.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Almost like a wash.
Dusty pink.
We've already seen Jolo wash.
Hildy is going to trot back to the group, and she is going to say, Nim, dear, could you close your ears for a minute? You've done nothing wrong, and I don't want to offend you. But you boys! All of you! You! She points at Nihilus. You're supposed to be our leader, and you're sleeping in trees. If this troll had attacked while we were hiding in bushes under a wet blanket, we'd all be dead. Sticks! This is your fault! She takes 5 gold out of her purse and throws them at him. She says, there! The next time one of us needs fucking soap, you give it to him. Because the reason this troll almost killed my poor little Jolo is your greed that has you hiding your face in the daytime from Cudgel and the Fat Man and Nim knows who else. And you buffoon! She's pointing at Jolo now.
I took the troll down.
Take off your fucking clothes and burn them. That smell is what attracted the troll in the first place, and it's why he was calling you Merlin. So whoever the hell this Merlin is probably in cahoots with the demons, and if trolls smell demons, that's on you, because you washed instead of just changing your damn clothes. Now, I'm sorry to raise my voice, and I'm sorry about the trolls. We shouldn't have made them. It was a mistake, and I apologize. But we will not have this again. We are a team, and if we are getting to the Dormonts, then we need to work together. You're not the only one that knows these roads, Nihilus. Styx and I were here less than a week ago. Obviously, he knows people in Yorktown or whatever the hell the name gets. I'm mad. We work together, or we go our separate ways and let the Fat Man kill us. But I will not let my poor Jolo almost die again because you can't work together. I'm sorry, Nim. She's going to turn her horse, trot back to the road, and wait for the party to join.
So what was the part where we made Nihilus the leader? I don't remember that.
Styx just went invisible. He's hiding. I think he just made him spontaneously hide.
Counting is 5 gold now.
Really?
The slow counter.
Even I'm feeling bad. Well, as Hildy, Hildy makes her way into the forest back toward the road.
It is brightly lit.
Yes. And then
Well, the
still has
fire
torch.
is
the fire as well.
setting. Do the other characters want me to take off my clothes too? Because, we can take a poll or something.
I'm good.
Sorry, looks like you lost out.
Nihilus would, I think, just shrug in the middle of the verbal tirade and start walking off towards the initial cart that we saw the troll at with the dead other guy in it to see what happened over there.
Okay.
Is there anything in this current cart that might be worth taking, stealing, using?
There were some crates that most of them looked like they were bashed open. The one that Kim launched herself off of at the initial part of this encounter seemed like it was mostly intact. It held her weight, and You guys haven't really searched the area or had a chance to look around to see what else might be there, so, you're welcome to do so. The only thing you can really smell outside of the troll, which is the overriding sensation that you're getting right now, but he's 40 feet away, is the small little cook fire, which in itself never had very fragrant to begin with.
As the voice of reason for the group, and dare I say it, the leader, we should let the troll burn itself out. We can investigate what's on the carcass later, and we can take a look at these boxes now, these crates, and see if there's anything worth that might help us on our campaign.
So, just so you know, when Hildy was berating Styx, and she threw the coins at him, he completely ignored her after that and started picking up the coins.
That's what we said.
How far is Styx away from them at the moment?
You're pretty
10,
close.
15, 18, 20 feet.
Okay, so Nim's gonna walk across to Styx and put her hand on his shoulder and cast healing hands. Lay on hands. And 9 points of healing.
Ooh, tickles.
1 gold.
That's nice.
Yeah, Nim should try.
So, because she did that, he's going to start looking at the pouch in front of her. And not try to hide it.
Okay. As you open it, to say it's a pouch is being very, is not really being critical. It's being very, I can't even think of the word right now, but it's kind of a mashed together, somewhat sewn, fabrics of leather of different types. To say it's generous, it's a pouch is generous, as it's barely holding itself together. But inside, initially what you see is the visage of a small skull. It doesn't look exactly human. It looks like it is a smaller humanoid of some sort that you're not really familiar with. There's some other rattling and kind of clinking inside the pouch, and as you kind of look through it further, you find that there are a few coins. You find 8 silver, and you find a piece of jewelry. It's a bracelet, but it's missing most of the stones that you could see were once set into it. But there are a few small little emeralds in it yet, and it's made out of platinum. The band itself, it's probably worth about 10 gold, maybe. And then aside from that, there's mostly there's a few buttons. There are some smaller bones, and there's a set of dice.
Nice.
Yeah, 6-sided dice. Yeah, no, it's a set of 4 6-sided dice. Typical gambling dice.
Perfect for a rogue.
So do I know the value of the bracelet, or that's just for our information as...
Yeah, I mean, that's what you can expect to get. That's what you would appraise it as, just, having some idea of it. Your information or Styx's information doesn't matter to me. That's kind of your lead-off point if you ever were to try and sell it.
All right, I'll take the dice and say, you mind if I keep these? And I'll hand him the purse, the rest of the purse.
Wow.
Plus the contents of the purse, or just the purse?
Plus except for the dice. She'll
Okay.
take the contents.
Thanks. Thanks, Styx.
So that's
He did heal me.
That's what was on the troll that you found. In that one round of investigating what you thought at the time was its corpse. Anybody else doing anything in this little grove that the troll inhabited?
Oh, I would like to take a look at the crates that we had mentioned before.
Okay, roll an investigation.
Purple one this time, I can feel it. Ooh,
There you go.
there I go. I got my 5, and then I get to add on to that another 3. So that would be almost par. Right?
course.
That's good.
For mini golf.
It looks like the reason that this cart was mostly intact was not because, or the crate, was not because the crate itself wasn't rotten and wasn't, on the verge of falling apart and moldy in some places, soggy wood, barely stable enough to hold Nim's weight, is because it's full of pots and pans. inside, and you can kind of hear them rattle around as you go through the crate to see what's inside. There's the glint of metal and iron, most of it rusted, but you could probably forge a pot out of it.
You can sear a good steak on a cast iron skillet.
All I would need is a good steak.
There's that.
Can I ask a question, Ravik?
Yeah, sure.
I think last week, Nin cast Detect Magic. Did we know that she cast it, or it's more just something that she knows that she did?
You guys were asleep.
Yeah, she checked us while we were sleeping.
Yep.
Ravik, the ring that the prince gave me, did that light up at all?
No, it did not.
Okay.
Man,
Sorry, it was just a question I was thinking about.
you got a ring, you got a cool skull, and I've got rusted pots and pans, which may or may not sear a steak.
Sell them for some clothes.
Yeah, the other busted
And some
crates,
soap.
they look like they probably held, some other implements of tools and that sort of thing, small tools, maybe some clothing. It's hard to tell, as most of it has either just been taken away or has rotted and rusted, where it's lie without any value.
So I heard there are clothes there, but I don't want to delay us. So should we go?
Have Nihilus and I reached the cart in the road yet?
Yeah, so
Are there clothes there?
when you guys reached the cart, before you actually reached the cart, the two of you, Hildy first, with your passive, pick up the sound of whistling. It sounds like a gay little ditty, something kind of upbeat and just a happy little song being whistled by something there in the area of the cart and the road.
You know about jaunty tunes?
I do.
And did they see my horse still there? That's another question.
I was going to say, Nihilus, as he was walking towards the cart, he would have collected his horse that he had jumped off of and gone to get Nim's and Styx's horse as well.
Yeah, any of the horses that were in the immediate area where the troll was might have, taken off a little bit, but they wouldn't have necessarily gone too far since they weren't pursued, and so you would be able to easily find them.
When I get
So he'll just
to...
grab,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I didn't know that's the direction Hildy was going, but he'll just grab the reins of all three horses and kind of walk up to the cart.
When we
If
get,
Hildy's there and he
Well-
sees her,
Even before you get to the cart.
well, with my 30-foot
sorry.
light, can I see who's whistling?
Yeah, I mean, as you come up onto the road, or just the edge of the sidebar, where it's about a 10-foot area where you could easily pull off the road, and then you have the road itself, which is easily another 20 feet, and then you have the sidebar on the opposite side of the road, which is typically around another 10 feet. So you get that kind of 40-foot swath of road that's fairly consistent that you've traveled from Lionsgate. But you notice right away that there's a second cart. It's a little bit smaller, and it's pulled by a single horse, and you see what appears to be a boy crouching over the dead cart driver of the other cart, and that's the source of the whistling of the happy tune that echoes eerily through this quiet forest. At this point, it does not appear that he's noticed you yet.
Boy! Get off it!
The figure stands like rigid for a moment without turning, and as he straightens up into a standing position, you realize that this is not a child at all, but it's a Haufln. You've seen the Haufln. You can tell by the thicker look of them, the way he's dressed. Got a shock of black hair. It's got tan skin as far as you can tell. Dressed kind of not as plainly as the locals that you've seen around. Looks like a little bit more finery in his clothing. And he's wearing studded leather armor. You can see that there's a short sword off his hip, and he's wearing some jewelry on his fingers, and he's kind of got him off to the side, and you can kind of see the glint of the metal. And he starts to slowly turn and face you. Oh dear, who are you now?
I'm
Madam.
fine, but he's dead. Leave him be.
This is not my doing. This is not my doing at all. Look, I just came upon this wreck and thought I'd check the body, make sure that he was alive and doing okay. I didn't. This is. I just came now, madam. Why are you here alone in the?
Well, we
forest?
just killed the troll that ate him.
There was a troll, you say? A troll that ate him.
Yes, you should probably leave in case he has friends.
Oh, well, maybe we should travel together and keep as the two of us.
I have friends already, thank you.
At this point, if you want to, Nihilus, you can hear this conversation taking place as you start walking up on him.
Yeah, he's just continuing forward, I guess.
Okay. Now, the illumination that you have right now,
20 foot bright, 10 foot dim.
right? But it's your aura that
Yes.
you have that you expand. Okay, so that is pretty obvious, and Nihilus is not carrying a light source at all. So you're able to easily follow Hildy back, through the forest and to the road, and plus the moonlight and so forth over the open sky of the road is easy to find. Atlantean. You're Atlantean. You don't see too much of you. And that's when it kind of dawns on him that you're not carrying a light source. You can kind of see it as his head jerks back to you, Hildy. Today? Oh, the stars? Atlantean and Today traveling together. Neither of which I see very often, maybe from afar.
I hope that Atlantean is Nihilus behind me. This would be when you say yes, Nihilus!
He doesn't respond. He just keeps slowly walking forward.
My dear sir, my dear madam, this is not my doing. I came upon it this way. I promise you. I was just checking the body to see if it were alive, to see if I could help. I'm not here to steal. I'm just a common merchant, a humble farmer from Argyleshire. Just come up from Boars. Just dropped a load down there. I sold a good bit of blue, the blue wool that we're known for. Heading off to Yorkshire. Robic, actually. You've got me so nervous. What is it you're doing here? This troll, he's dead, yes? You mentioned it was dead.
Nihilus, the farmer's wearing better armor than you. That worries me.
You can tell just passively he's nervous, on the verge of frantic at this point. Not just at the sight of these two rare, races in this world. And he seems kind of, common type personality. But, I don't know what your experience is actually with Haufln. Probably not that much, so this is
Yeah, he sticks his back.
exchange that is new to everybody, perhaps.
So, assuming Nihilus has approached near enough them by now, he'll stand a distance away from Hildy and he'll talk to the Haufln. Calm down, my friend. We realize that you had no part in this other poor soul's death. We came upon him already before you got here like this. We have no quarrel with you. Are you traveling alone this road at night?
I am. I'm traveling alone. I shouldn't have to fear for my life here on this road. It's the King's Road. I heard that there was something going on in Lionsgate, but I came up from Boars and only heard a little bit here and there. I don't know what to think of it. Where are you from? The two of you. I mean, have you come from Lionsgate?
We've been put together in some sort of group, not by choice, but by circumstance, this Day and I, and there are a few others with us in the forest just behind us. We realized that this is normally a safe road. I myself traveled it not long ago, but we are coming from Lionsgate on our way to Yorwick, and it's true that there was some sort of foul creature that attacked these poor farmers themselves on the cart and strode off into the forest where we gave chase to vanquish him.
Oh, that one. That was not such a poor farmer, That's Gillum. I know. I don't know Gillum. I know of Gillum. And Gillum, he normally travels with a woman. Tabitha. Tabitha. I believe her name is, but I don't see her here.
Unfortunately, her fate is the same as Galen here.
That's a sad thing, but given their line of work, I don't know that they'll be missed much. In any case,
Why do you say
I
that?
feel rude. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Hammerite Luxembourg, but
Hemorrhoid?
Hemorrhoid.
Hammerite, thank you. Hammer, but please,
Hammerite.
my friends call me Hammy. Please,
Hammy.
call me Hammy. I'm from Argyleshire, as I mentioned. May I ask your names?
My name is Nyla Saraville of House Aramath. Well met, Show.
Yes. Very nice to meet you, madam.
I don't like you whistling all happy like when Gillem's dead.
Well, it's a nervous thing. I have to tell you. Since I was a child, whenever I got into a situation where I was nervous about something and worried, I would always my mom would always tell me to whistle, and it would take the fear away. So it's a habit of mine. I'm sorry. I hope it didn't disturb you too much.
Well, if Nihilus introduced himself, I will too. My name is Hildegard.
So while all this is going on, back where the troll was laired, at least temporarily, Styx, Nem,
And Jolo.
Jolo, what are you guys doing?
I mean, there's nothing good in the boxes. Is the fire dying out at this point, or is it still?
That's in a different area completely. Where the cart was kind of, it was overturned, and a few of the crates and other things was just strewn. It looked like it had been there quite a while. And then there was the other area that was more enclosed, with rocks and trees and branches and so forth, where you saw just the dim light of the campfire, and you could smell the noxious whatever was being cooked on it.
I caught you. If I can smell that, that means I don't smell that dead.
Well, it's in addition to all the other scents that are assaulting your senses at the moment.
We know the truth.
So,
I'll search the area around the fire.
okay. Go ahead and roll an investigation. As you walk in, you can see that it is just a cluster of lots of textiles and clothing that have been kind of spread around and heaped upon each other to perhaps as bedding. It's all dirty and stinky, the whole area. And then there's that small little fire. It's got a pot on top and is boiling. And that's where the intense stink is coming from. And you can see kind of writhing in the boiling mass what look like little carcasses of maybe forest critters like squirrels and chipmunks and things like that, rabbits, that have just been kind of thrown in. You can see they're boiling, and the hair has started to just rise to the top as it just escapes the bodies, and leaving just the muscle and the skin beyond. It's been boiling quite a while, and so it just stinks to high heaven. But go ahead and roll your investigation. There's a lot of pots and various bones, tools, rusted weapons, clothing, torn armor, just scattered around.
Can I help Styx and give him advantage?
No, he already rolled, but you rolled a 9?
Yeah.
Okay, Nim, you can roll if you want to check the area.
Sure. Uh, 13.
13. Okay, so 9 and 13. There's a lot of crap here as you dig through it. You don't see anything of any value as you search around the area inside.
Can I find a downward slope and use my towel to push over the pot down the slope just so it empties out?
Well, it's an enclosed area, and so you can push it over, and it's just going to kind of fall amongst the rocks and debris over on one side if you want to do that.
If no one's in the way, I'll do that.
Okay, all right,
Just
yeah. It's not a huge pot. It's not like a witch's crock or anything like that. It's only about maybe 10 or 12 inches wide, and as you push it over, you can see the kind of brown mass of gooey, almost muddy corpses of these little figures kind of pour out of it, along with what's left of the liquid. And you can see they're kind of in the shape of, critters, animals.
Critters.
I'm just gonna look in it and maybe push around with my sword, see if there's anything in there, which I doubt.
Okay, roll investigation.
An 8.
Okay. Yeah, nothing that intrigues you. A lot that grosses you out, but nothing that really rises to your interest unless you're into that sort of thing.
I have no
So,
idea.
nothing else here.
Okay, anybody else? Joe? Anybody?
I'm kind of disgusted by the foul scent, so I will not have any part of this. I'm a very cultured individual.
Well, shown that a time and time. You're a stand-up man.
Exactly. So can Jello, the pink troll killer, head over to the others, to Nim and the others, and see what's going on there?
All right. Is everybody heading
You only
over?
kill pink trolls?
Yes, they're my favorite. Yeah.
Is everybody heading over together? The three of you, Nim and Joe,
It's-
and
As the leader, I'm
Nim?
going to be out in front, of course.
okay,
Yeah.
leading the way.
And then we'll slowly head over to Nihilus and Hildy.
Okay. All right. So as you guys make your way through the forest, you're watching the remains of the troll just finally start to simmer as the fire starts to slowly diminish, and you kind of come into the area, seeing the glow of Hildy. Plus, at this point, you can see that even though the Haufln wasn't carrying a light source, he's kind of in the process right now of lighting a lantern. And you kind of come into the last part of the conversation that they were just having, where you now see this Haufln that was just introducing himself, and Hildy and Nihilus were introducing themselves. Oh, I see there's more of you emerging. Everyone all right? I heard about the troll that you had to take down. It must have been exciting.
No, we didn't take it down. I took it down. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Joe, the pink troll killer.
My name is Hammy. It's more complicated than that, but I don't want to, confuse you. You are a human.
Well, someone said that I'm Hammy as well, actually. Yes.
Well, that might be confusing.
Yes.
So, my name is Hammy, and, wow, still an elf here? In the Western Kingdoms, along with an Atlantean and a Tatha Day.
And a cleric.
May I have your name, please? Nim. It's just astounding to see such a group of unusual characters all together. And you, very dark and sultry fellow back there. He kind of looks over
I already introduced myself.
at Styx. What's your name, good fellow?
If I heard voices, I probably would have went into stealth mode.
Okay, well, you can if you choose that. And then,
Yeah, I'd probably try to hear and before I came out.
Yeah, because they were talking, while you were coming through the forest. There would have been trees or whatever, so go ahead and roll stealth.
My rolls are crap tonight, 10.
Okay. He doesn't, from your perspective, you feel like you're hidden. He doesn't, cast his gaze over to you or anything like that.
Where's Styx? I don't see him.
Yes,
Internet.
That's one heck of a 10.
disappeared. Once more, he's really good at hiding. It's amazing.
When we were coming up the road seeing the approaching cart, you had said that we could see textiles or cloth or something.
Yes.
Now that we're close enough to be talking to this guy, can we see, is it clothing, is it curtains, is it something that Jolo could wear that doesn't stink?
It's not. There is some clothing that is kind of fallen out of one of the boxes. It seems rather plain. Probably belonged to the man or the woman or both. And it's been spilled, whatever container it might have been in, but mostly what you see are the barrels and crates that have all been kind of toppled over, and spilling from them you see various types of vegetables, and they're just all over the road. But oddly enough, along with the vegetables, there are a dozen daggers, there are 3 dozen or so arrows, there's another dozen short swords that have just spilled out of the cart or the barrels and onto the ground, lying heavily on the road, just behind where all the vegetables have spilled.
Is this the cart that belonged to Gilliam and Tabitha?
Well, you don't know that,
Okay.
but that's what the Haufln had told Nihilus and Hildy before you guys walked up. That's who.
Well, you were describing the initial cart, not the Haufln's cart, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Haufln's cart is smaller and it's led by one horse. You don't know where the horses are that Gillum was driving. You don't see them anywhere nearby. What the Haufln has on his cart is it's covered, but the tarp, the canvas tarp, is kind of sagging as if it's almost empty.
So Nihilus will continue with the Haufln and say, Hammy, my good man, you had mentioned that these two wouldn't be missed. What was their reputation?
Well, it's a sad tale. I tell you, why don't we get underway? I'm traveling north to Yorwick, and I presume you are as well? You haven't told me where you're going.
You seem a bit in a rush. Any reason?
This is coming out of the darkness where you're hidden behind a tree? A voice?
My roll was only a 10, so I don't know if I was well hidden.
Well, you see him just kind of look startled and look into the forest, and there sticks, kind of like peeking around a tree. What were you asking?
What was I asking? I don't know.
He says you seem in a rush.
Oh yeah, you seem in a rush. Any reason you want to push forward?
Oh, well, we can, I would like to probably.
Because there are trolls, dear.
Not anymore, thanks to this guy.
Very.
I'm just going to just stand around looking very intimidating. We'll try.
Just passively, he looks like, he's definitely intimidated by the group of you, but hoping to find some common, thread that would allow, he's clearly a personable person that wants to be friends. But I'm not, I guess we should bury him if that's what you mean. I mean, it would make sense that we bury them. And where's Tabitha? You know where she is?
She's back a bit in the forest there.
Should we
not far
retrieve
from
her
here.
then and bury them side by side? Hey, they're not, again,
I didn't know them well enough to bury them.
Is that the custom here in the Western Kingdoms, to bury your dead?
of course it is. I mean, for the most part, but I mean, if you want to feed the night animals,
Oh, they need to eat too. That's very nice of you.
you could leave them out, but any patrols from Yorwick might find that a bit odd, don't you think? And wouldn't be very neighborly.
We haven't searched Tabitha at all, have we?
I was just going to say, yeah, I think we should bury him.
If you wouldn't mind bringing her, I'll start digging the holes. Any of you that would mind helping, we'll dig them. We'll say a prayer, and maybe that'll atone for some of their sins.
You have a shovel on you?
I do. He flips back the canvas, and you can see that there's a couple of shovels. One is Haufln size, and the other is regular human size, a bit bigger and taller. And there are some other small, like you see a little box or the edge of a box inside that might be a chest or whatever, small chest. And there are, looks like maybe a soft pile of clothing or something underneath the tarp as well, as far as what you can see. But it looks like it's mostly empty. And he pulls out both shovels and hands the taller one out to one of you.
Nim, I can help us see if you want to go get the woman.
I will go and help retrieve the body. Sticks to and help me.
You'll see that he sort of wants to stay there, but he goes, sure.
He says Stitch is still, his face is still stained with blood. Although most of his wounds have healed, he's got a little bit of scarring going on, and giving him even a darker look than what he had before. But mostly, just the outside of his cloak and his skin, and whatever facial hair he has is just stained with this crimson crust that's his own blood.
So as we're walking back, I'll pull out my towel and my water skin, and I'll make it wet, and I'll start.
We'll be right back, Jolo. He has a lantern. You'll be fine.
I bet he wishes he has the soap right now, too.
All right, so Nim and Styx and Hildy are going back to.
Fetch the woman's body.
Okay. And so Hammy's still out there holding the larger.
Nihilus will take it.
Okay, and he's kind of like angling toward Jolo before Nihilus walks up and takes it.
And I will point out, no need to ask, I will say a few words as this companion digs a hole. We must all do what we are good at.
Well, Priestess Suna. I can respect that.
A lot of people respect it. Yeah.
For him.
You might use that term loosely there.
And he just starts
whisper
digging a
to
hole
Hammy.
at the side of the road, just inside the edge of where the forest is.
Has Hammy lit his lantern
Oh
yet?
yeah, it's lit. It's lit.
You're
It's sitting
fine.
on, just
It's
sitting
not
on top of
dark anymore.
his cart at the moment.
Not that I'm afraid of the dark, just,
And it's a 60-foot radius glowing illumination that, just keeps everything lit. The other cart and everything.
Yeah, Nihilus will tie the reins loosely to one of the carts of the horses, and he'll take up the shovel and dig alongside Hammy.
I turn to Hammy. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, would it be possible to do an insight check on Hammy when we were in the vicinity of him, just to kind of see what take we get from him?
What are you trying to insight?
I try to see if he's being truthful, if he's open and honest,
On what part?
just on everything he's saying.
That's a pretty broad insight. So I mean, you can roll an insight if you like.
On the part where he respected me,
6.
Okay. Yeah. This is a great big world of new experiences, even for Nim and Nihilus and everyone. And so your experience with Hauflins is not that great, and you find him probably quirky. It's about the extent of it.
As me and Nim were walking away, I whispered to her so that no one else could hear. I wanted to question the little bugger for a little longer, see what he's, see if he's honest.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if he is or not. He's definitely quirky.
Yeah, let's get this body quick.
Well, he said he was a farmer, but he's wearing armor. I was a little
Very
confused
strange.
by that part, but Nihilus seems to trust him enough to use his real name and not that Jorlith nonsense he did with Francisco.
Wow, good memory.
So as you were digging, Nihilus, with Hammy, side by side, these two holes to bury the bodies, he keeps kind of glancing over at you, just looking you up and down, seems to be really curious about you. Talking about mundane things, just, how big they need to build, you need to dig the hole, and wow, how fast it is that you're able to dig. You must be really strong. And he asked you where you're from. What part of Atlantis do you hail from?
Are you familiar with the city itself?
I would say that I've been once or twice. I've seen Atlanteans in the Emerald Isle, but so rare in the Western Kingdoms.
Once again, I'm here by chance and not by choice, but I do hail from Atlantis, from the Central Ring as it is.
It's a marvelous place.
It is. It's truly beautiful. I definitely miss it.
But why are you here, all of you? Your group? It seems so strange to have such a gathering.
Happenstance. Somebody directed us to head towards Yorwick, and that's where we're on our way to.
Wow. So you must be on a mission for someone really important.
I wouldn't say that. More of a traveling lot than anything. Safety in numbers, right?
That's about as conflicting as you can get, I think. But you're Atlantean, I'm sure you wouldn't lie about that. And even if you did, I mean, it's none of my business anyway, really. So, I just want to be friends. I don't have any Atlantean friends. And, if you ever come around to Argyllshire, then you might want a friend. I can be there for you.
Is that where you're from, Hammy?
I've said it a number of times now, I think. Argyllshire, over between, on the border of Iru and Lioness, just on the north side of Palau, really. And I'm sure you heard of it. It's where most of Haufln are from.
Can't say I've had the pleasure of visiting that part of the world just yet, but someday I would love to see your hometown.
I know. Now I know where you're going. You're going to Argyllshire. You heard about the turtle that was eating all the fishermen's boats. That's what you're doing. A gathering such as you. I understand now. You're doing it on the down low, as they might say. Adventurers.
A giant turtle, you say?
I'm absolutely just blown away. You kept the secret so well, and here you are. It must be a blessing. The people of Argyllshire will be so pleased when you show up to dispense with that thing. It's a monster. It's been costing us so much in lives and our fish and our industry. Besides, of course, we're mostly farmers. But look, I've got to travel around in armored with the weapon. My foot stands, I think.
Was the turtle situation, was that somewhere within the primal sea or another body of water?
No, not really, of course. We're nowhere near the primal sea.
Loch.
No, it's got to be in Lao.
Oh, there it is.
It's there where the turtle is.
Look at the map.
It's sinking the fishermen's boats.
Once we settle our little business in Yorwick, my friend, we'll see about traveling to Argyllshire and seeking out this monstrous turtle you speak of.
You're headed to Yorwick then? Then we're heading to the same place
Yes.
together.
Turtles.
I'll be pleased to travel with you, if you don't mind.
I don't mind one bit. You might be better company than some of the others that I'm currently traveling with.
I don't know about that, but I will definitely be much better company.
I don't know about that either, actually.
He kind of looks over startled at Jolo, just kind of
Jola's still here too.
listening in.
I'm gonna go back to writing my speech, my presentation over the graves that I'll be delivering.
And so in the meantime, Nim and Styx and Hildy, you make your way back through. You easily find the corpse of the woman that he named as Tabitha. Aside from retrieving her corpse, is there anything else you want to do again back in the area?
I'll see if there's anything on her corpse. That's,
Okay, you can roll an investigation.
Yeah, then we'll do a little prayer before she picks it up.
She's cutting in on my business.
Nim dear, why are you praying over her?
Just praying that she's found what she's looking for.
Well, she hasn't. She got killed by a troll.
What'd you roll?
I'm sure she just needs some
19.
peace.
19.
So as Styx is close to the corpse and kind of turns her over to investigate her body, again, her clothing has been kind of shredded and ripped. Her abdomen area is completely void. You can see the smears of blood and some what's left of her entrails inside the cavity.
Don't forget all the ribs popped out.
No, that was on the man. Oh yes, from when he was shaking her earlier. Yes, you're right.
Pop.
Yeah, so as you turned her around, you could see the ribs moving, the rib cage moving. But most of the organs within the rib cage area are still intact, loosely. But the thing that really gets your attention immediately, and passably it is shocking enough that that Nim, as you're beginning to say a prayer, and Hildy is kind of looking over, is this absolute look of horror on her face. And it seems very unnatural. Her eyes are open, her mouth is open, and in like a perpetual scream. And you got a high enough investigation roll, Sticks, that as you kind of look closer at her, you realize that there's been small little sticks that have been placed within her mouth to keep it open, propped open, wide. And you can see that her tongue has been ripped out. Her eyes, they're still there, but they've been pinned open. And you can see that her ears have been ripped off as well. And her hair, just covered in blood, still mostly there. And it's almost as if something was punctured her right cheek, as there's a bloody, vacant hole that goes all the way through. And then, of course, her neck and the rest of her just covered in blood. As you initially are probably shocked by this, and then you start to pat her down and check for any valuables, she doesn't appear to have anything on her. If she had something on her, her clothes are so ripped up that it likely just fell off.
When I see all this look of horror and everything, I'm going, Hildy and Nim are probably going to see Sticks reach for something under his cloak, like some sort of necklace or something. And he's going to look to Nim and say, I hope you have some words to put this young girl to rest. And then he's going to lower it. You don't see what he grabs because it's under his shirt. And then he lowers it.
Can we all see the sticks and stuff holding her mouth open, or is that just a him investigating?
That's what he notices right away.
Okay.
If he mentions it, it's up to him.
Nim's going to just bend down and take whatever's holding her eyelids open and remove it and close her eyes and pick her up to take her back to where her partner is.
And as Nim is looking closer and preparing to, to give some sort of prayer, benediction, whatever, drawing your attention then to what I described earlier, you would all three see the extent of whatever this manipulation was, this psychotic manipulation that the troll had done to her.
Well, that was my next question. From my brief knowledge of trolls and their giganticness, does this seem like something a troll was dexterous enough to do? Is that something they normally do?
You remember, you know trolls as being primarily laborers. They were laborers in respect to doing very dangerous jobs that would typically, cause injury. That's why they have the regenerative powers to, continually allow them to do their work. You don't know them for having great dexterous behavior, but they all come in different shapes and sizes. And they're known for their strength, primarily, but this one might have had that. It wouldn't surprise you.
Okay. Nim, when we get back, can you talk to me about this prayer thing? I'm not certain I understand it.
Sure.
It's very strange. Sticks, do you pray? Is this a thing?
I pray we get out of here soon and get back on the road.
No, I understand that part. Certainly, we all do. But do you believe in gods and deities influencing your fate and giving you peace and all that once you're dead?
God's meddle in all our lives. And then I'll just start, gathering things up and trying to drag her off. Trying to get you guys to help.
And Nim's going to just lift the body and just say something like, you guide this person to peace and safety, and start walking towards where Jolo and Midas are.
Very slight woman, of course, missing so much of her body at this point. But for a human, she wasn't that big anyway. She's easy to carry as you guys make your way back toward the road.
Once we get back into the light ring from his lantern, Hildy will turn off her luminescence.
Okay.
go back to normal glow.
And I'm just curious if, as we're walking back, Styx is going to think if he can remember who the troll was talking to when he said smell like Merlin and he looked at one of us.
Okay. Roll a history.
Good boy.
I was curious about
With,
that. too.
with disadvantage.
I had a theory.
He said
History with disadvantage.
I think we're all thinking about that.
the
13. Not bad for disadvantage.
the troll said it.
And he said smells like Merlin and he looked at someone.
No, when he grabbed Jolo's head, he went, "Not Merlin," and bit him in the head.
But before that, he looked at one of us in particular.
One of us,
asking
the
if-
one who smelled
Yeah.
like a demon that he could smell from
Well,
way back.
Let's see what my history reveals.
All right. That's what Mike and Hildy think.
So Hildy would certainly bring that point up. But when he was looking at somebody in the group, there were a couple of you in front and then a few of you in the back, and so it was either, I think it was Hildy was back with Jolo and Styx.
Sticks.
So one of the three of you.
Yeah, it wasn't neither side because we were right in front and he was
that
looking past
you're
us.
sure of. It's one of the three of you, but you don't know which one. And he took a bite at him. Two of the three.
Yeah, but he
Doesn't taste
took a
like
bite out of
chicken,
Jolo.
tastes like Merlin.
Oh, I should have used the chicken joke.
Too late.
Jolo could have been the other white meat. Pork.
Maybe everything doesn't taste like chicken. Chicken is just able to change its flavor.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so you guys are able. By the time you guys join the rest of the group at the road, Nihilus and Hammy have dug the holes deep enough, and they're satisfied with the work that they've done. That they won't be dug up by any wandering animals, and you can inter them there if you want.
And I'm just going to dump the body into the grave that's been dug.
Okay.
Is the cart salvageable? Like, can we rig our horses up to it?
You haven't really checked the cart. You know that it's not completely turned over, but it's on its side, and that whatever tack and boarding or whatever it's called that connected the cart to the horses was kind of ripped apart, and the horses are gone. So,
It's called a yoke.
Yeah,
thank you.
that was something that I actually
But the yoke
investigated.
is the yes, you did, and it was still intact. It was just you saw a little bit of blood and like the leather reins and so forth had been ripped apart, but that part of it was still intact.
Styx will say to anybody else, because he doesn't know a lot about horses, I think this wagon might be salvageable, might be, worth some time when we get back to Lion's Gate.
I think it will slow us down, but we should definitely gather these vegetables before they go bad. And if there's one of those curvy swords, I want one of those.
The horses we procured from Francisco were more for riding and not pulling. I would agree that strapping them to the cart wouldn't behoove us much benefit and probably slow us down, as Hildy said.
Well, if we're traveling with your fellow laborer, we'll be going at the same speed that he's going at, so it doesn't matter if we have a cart or not.
What's that now? Who's traveling with us? And Styx won't look happy.
Hammy's kind of off to
Maybe
the
we
side.
we see what's on the car, see if we can take anything and just go on our horses.
Do you want to investigate the cart then?
Yes.
Okay, so Nim, anybody else?
Hildy. Well, they're all praying and digging.
Okay.
Hildy's
Well, we
rummi-
can't pray
Hildy's
till they're already
rummaging.
interred. So I would actually be curious to see if there's any clothing that befits him out of my station.
Okay, so the obvious things are the overturned barrels and crates, the scattering of weapons that I mentioned earlier, and the vegetables that are all over the ground. There is basically a pile of clothing at this point. It looks like men and women's, but only maybe a couple of different changes. And outside of that, the cart looks relatively intact. You don't see any broken axles or broken wheels, but it's turned over on its side. And so you'd have to actually turn it back over and run it a little bit to see if it's running okay. But if you want to do an investigation beyond that, you'll need to roll.
I would like to turn over the cart so it's right side up.
Okay, I'm talking about the contents of it. If you want to investigate the contents any further, you have to roll an investigation.
Hildy will roll an investigation looking for one of those fancy, cool,
I will
curvy
help.
swords. But Hildy, unfortunately, rolled a 9.
I've helped you, so I think you get advantage.
Oh, good. Oh, in that case, Hildy got a 23.
Wow, okay, that's a big difference.
She's scooping up vegetables and looking for a scimitar, if there is one.
Well, as far as the weapons are concerned, unfortunately, they all seem to be almost made from a mold. Whereas all the short swords are very plain and typical. The daggers, the arrows, they seem to be mass-produced in a forge. And they're okay. They're not like great. They're certainly not master level, but functional. And there's the body itself of Gillum, but anything else there's one odd thing that you find among all the vegetables that seems out of place. You haven't seen a fire here. You haven't seen a campfire. You haven't seen a torch. The only light produced by fire that you've seen here on the road in this specific area is the one that Hammy lit for his lantern. But you find this stone by itself that is completely scorched, as if by fire. Just as if it rolled out with everything else of the cart. It's a small stone, not even the size of your fist. And maybe half the size of your fist, right? Maybe a couple inches in diameter. So, outside of that, there's nothing interesting about the stone.
This is strange. Nim, I found this rock. It looks burnt, but it was in with the rutabagas. I'll give the rock to Nim, the stone.
Nim, you need to make a history check.
I thought you were going to say deck save or something.
And that is 14.
14. It looks familiar, and immediately when you see it, you feel nauseous. You feel kind of a pain. It's visible on you. It's really obvious. Everybody else can see it too.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear.
And it's not coming from the stone. It's your reaction to seeing the stone. But you connected with an experience in your life back on the Emerald Isle. But you can't place it exactly how it fits in. You don't remember seeing this specific thing, but it brings back that shock of memory. It's one of the most shocking times in your life.
Nim is going to take the stone and put it in her backpack. She definitely wants to take it out later to see if she can jog her memory.
Okay. And the rest of you can just easily
I'll pat her on the
see
back.
her,
There,
almost like
there.
tearing up, just
There,
taking
there.
the stone.
There.
Okay.
It's just a rock. It didn't hurt it. You can burn rocks all the time.
Something's very familiar about this rock, Hildy. I had a very bad feeling.
Do you think the boys have a bad feeling because I yelled at them?
I think they probably deserved it, Hildy.
Well, I know that, but I still don't want them to feel bad, especially Jolo.
I'm more worried about Nihilus.
I'm gonna help Jolo find clothes.
Hilda's going to make a woman suit out of Jolo.
You know, technically, if Hildy and Jolo ever kissed, there would be like an 80-foot tube between two buttholes connecting them.
I prefer an 80-foot wall between them.
Oh my god.
Lim's walking far away.
I won't ask you to explain that. I just.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, butthole,
No.
intestines, throat, mouth, throat.
Oh my
Kind
god.
of like the human centipede thing.
All right.
Why would you think about that?
You'd be amazed at the things I think about, Josh.
The whole time, Hammy's sitting here. I'm not sure of all the travel. Just walk up to walk into.
That was Mike. That part was Mike, not
I know,
Hildy.
but just watching the whole exchange with the, finding this rock and everything, he just in her reaction, he just seems very, suddenly very uncertain and quiet, watching this all transpire.
So as we're burying the bodies, Styx is going to say to Hammy, so once these bodies are buried, I guess you should be getting on your way, huh?
Nihilus promised we could travel together, so I thought it would be good just for our own safety. Might be another troll out there, and I'm just by myself.
Why would he do that, dear? We don't know you.
Well, Madam, I'm sure I can be an asset. I'll tell stories. I'll tell stories.
Do you know any good stories?
I have great jokes.
Oh,
Would you
I
like to hear a
do.
joke?
I do like stories, Styx. Maybe he can come along for a little while.
So what is it you do? What is it you do for work, Hammy?
As I was telling your friends, I'm a merchant farmer, and I was traveling down to Boris with a load of blue wool, which I was able to sell and offload as expected. But coming back to Yorwick, of course, I've got to pick up a few tatterings of things there to take back to the Argyllshire, and hopefully sell them to shopkeepers there and make a bit of coin. That's what I do mostly. I have a small farm as well.
Insight?
Is that what you're doing?
6.
What do you farm, Hammy?
I don't farm so much agriculture like most of my kin do. I raise sheep. My wife raises sheep. My boys, they help with the sheep. My daughters do as well. We dye it blue, and we sell it. It seems to be very popular.
That wasn't a very good story, Hammy.
That's not a story. I'm just asking you a question.
Oh, all right.
Where do frogs keep their gold? Do you know?
Why would
Tell
a
ya.
frog have gold?
That's not the point of it, but where would they keep it if they had it?
Back at their pond?
A riverbank! Come on! They keep it at the riverbank.
I just start glaring at Nihilus. Like, what did you do to us?
I got lots of them. I have lots and lots of stories to tell.
Do you
Jokes.
do you know how deep a frog's favorite river is, Hammy?
No, how deep is it?
Knee deep.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna add that to my repertoire.
Styx is going to do what he normally does and just glance at his wagon, look at how many pouches he has on him.
So,
Lim just got the bank joke, so she's laughing.
Not the lag with the internet, or
No,
No,
it's
that's
just
just
her
the
brain.
lag with him.
Your mind was buffering.
so what do you do? You've looked through the cart. You buried the bodies. Hammy is intent on traveling with you for safety, he says, and if you allow him to.
Styx is going to say, the last halfling I knew stuck a friend of mine with a dagger. My friend was a bard, and then the halfling turned invisible and ran away.
He starts laughing. On the Haufln, if he stabbed the bard, he probably deserved it. You know what we call the kabooter?
Go what?
The kabooter, the gnomes, the little ones, a little smaller than we are. You know what they are? In our language, what kabooter means?
What's that?
It means arsehole. So if you get stuck in the kabooter, you know where you've been hit?
Hammy, do you know the field of Dormont's by any chance?
I know it. Travel by it. Not too many go through it. There's no roads or anything. adult vacation there?
So
No,
you'd be
that-
able to give us directions to it.
Kabooter's a funny word, Jolo.
I say Kubota.
After that whole 80-foot thing, I'm just going to turn in the other direction.
Let's get
Still
our
keep one eye.
cabooders moving.
Yeah.
So you start to get underway as you're talking?
Well, no. Nobody said any words over the graves of these two unfortunate souls. And, as the one cleric, the one religious person in this entire group, I feel like I should say a few words.
Hammy agrees.
You need to.
Yes. I will keep my words brief, as I always do. Oh, holy Suna, please accept these, your holy pilgrims, who traveled along your lands, and whose journey was cut short by a disgusting and horrible figure in the shape of a troll. Save the questions to the end. Fortunately, there were adventurers who were able to take part in great deeds of courage in defeating the enemy of your people.
I wish I could leave like Sticks did.
I, for one, not only knocked down the troll with my sonar spells, which were granted to me by you, but I was also able to burn the troll, which of course we all know is the one way to destroy them. Also, Nim jumped on a couple crates, and Styx got his head bitten, and some other people were there too. Amen.
Now we have an intro for next week.
Why do you have to ask Suna to accept them?
It's subjunctive. Yes, so,
Subjunctive?
yes.
What does that mean? Is
When
that
I was
even
at
a
the
word?
temple, it very well might be. When I was studying at the temple, we learned many things, from grammar to things other than grammar. Very useful things.
Not bathing, though.
I believe I demonstrated my bathing skills already.
That's my point, dear. But why do you have to ask her to accept them?
I was opening up a dialogue. Yes, that's basically what it was.
It's very strange, the things you believe. I'm going to talk to Nim about it later. I'm not sure you
Yes,
know what
I
you're
do
doing.
encourage you to talk to the others. Far from me. Yes. Let's get going.
It was a good bit of words you said there. Very more than they deserve, I assure you.
I take great pride in my words, and in fact, most of my deeds. I would say all of them, but I try to be humble.
He hops up in his cart and begins to head down the road, slowly with you, if you'll allow him to stay. Obviously, his cart doesn't move quite as quickly as you can on your horses, but if you allow him to keep up, he certainly does so.
During all these recent interactions, assuming that the sort of burial prayer was the last thing that happened, before that Nihilus would have gone around and collected some of the bundles of arrows. He hadn't had a chance to retrieve any of the
Keep them away from
fire
him.
arrows that he's lost over the last few days, and so he'll grab some and stick them in his quiver, and then he'll just remain silent and respectful as the burial ceremony, whatever you'd call it, went on, and the group chatted. And then once Hammy sort of took up to his cart, Nihilus would just hop on his horse and get ready to follow.
So about 19 arrows you were able to recover that you thought were reasonably adequate, for you to utilize. So you could depend on. There were a lot of them that were broken and damaged, and from the crash or whatever happened to this cart.
Perfect.
So I didn't answer your question exactly earlier, but as we're underway here, finally, there was so much going on, and burying the dead, and trying to really sort each other out. I'm sure the Nomonts is said to be a fearful place. Why you want to go there?
Oh, we didn't say we're going there. We're just curious about where it was.
Just want to know what's around us.
Well, the good news is, in about a day, probably, tomorrow afternoon we should come to a crossroads. And there'll be a sign that points in two different directions. One leads to the north and the other one leads to the west. Following those signs are the roads, the pathways. The one leading off to the west, a bit more narrow. The sign above it says Remy. And then there's another sign continuing on to the north, and that will be the way to York. If you're going to go to the Dormounts, the easiest way to get somewhere toward the center of the Dormounts, not knowing where you're going exactly or why, would be to go through Remy. And I bet you can find someone to guide you the way in, or at least tell you how to get further beyond. Remy stands just on the edge of the forest that separates the Dormounts from the village.
Insight that he's given us
So
the right
Remy is a
directions.
village.
You're saying the name of the village is Remy, R-E-M-Y. Go ahead and roll your insight.
15.
He seems, I mean, as far as you can tell, he seems as if he's, telling you straight up.
He's not very trusted.
Any tourist sites that we should
And how far will you be
miss in
traveling
Remy?
with us?
I wasn't clear on what Nim said yet, but he says that he's going to be going to York. So he's going to York, and so depending on what direction you go at the crossroad, which you should be at by the next afternoon, that's your answer. What were you saying, Nim?
Nim's asking Remy if he's been, she's asking Hammy if he's been to Remy and if there are any sites that they need to see.
Remy is a small little village in the forest. It's a place to go for relaxation. It's not too much happening there. It's like Suna, but not much is happening there. But I do recommend, if you like a good story and you like a good ale, go see Rollo. He owns a dancing board tavern in Remy. Very popular place, seeing it's the only tavern in Remy. And it's got a couple of rooms to let as well. I hear many of the soldiers from York often stay there, just for rest and relaxation. It doesn't have a wall or anything, but they're not under threat. Why should they be? Still, being that close to the Dormounts does make some nervous. And it's been the launching point for many a foolish adventurer, explorer, journeyman, heading out to the Dormounts to see what they could find, what they could recover. Grave robbers especially, many of whom don't return. Yeah, so the stories say. I'm just a merchant farmer. What do I know?
Well, you said you know stories.
I do know stories.
All right.
Why'd the big pig dump her boyfriend?
That's not a story.
Well, we haven't heard the ending.
That's a riddle. Because she didn't like him anymore
Because
because
it was a real bore.
that's a play
He's
on
just
words.
tickled with
Because
himself.
a boar is a male pig, but a boar is also how you act sometimes. So,
You find me boring?
no, not boring. Just
Actually, it was Nihilus that was boring the whole to,
boorish.
boorish.
It's a different word, dear. It's called a homonym when they sound the same, but they mean different things. I'll tell you in the morning. Never mind. Just ride.
Nim, I think he was saying something about you.
Sorry, you did what?
He was trying to distract me, dear.
Did it work?
No, I'm captivated by your
Can I
eyes.
roll for that somehow?
So, traveling on along the road
With Hammy.
With Hammy.
Do you know any tales about the Dormounts? Perhaps the king who never was. Are you familiar with that person?
The king who never was. The king who never was. Why would you ask about such a thing?
Yes, Jolo. Why would you ask this stranger about such a thing?
You know, I think I heard about that in the Book of Reasons somewhere in the back.
This Book of Reasons, do you have such a book with you?
I wish.
Curious to read what else might be in such a book.
Well, I can share some stories too, but first, do you know any tales of this very curious creature or this very curious man?
I always found that my mom said, don't speak about things you're not sure of, unless you're speaking in jest, or unless you're spinning a tale or a yarn that's more symbolic of what you want those around you to understand about what you're saying. And in this case, I think it's a hazard to speak ill of the dead.
Let's pretend this is opposite day. Can you tell the opposite of the story?
You seem like a man that would like a real, you know what, I've got a story for you. And I'll tell you the story when we have, when we're sitting around a campfire, we have a little bit to drink, because I've got a barrel of ale back here that's top notch. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it with all your friends, because they're my friends now too. And this sort of tale is much better with a drink.
We're not.
It's not the traveling tale, it's a camping tale.
As it happens, I love campfires. I just set a big one on top of a troll. Have I told you that story yet?
No, but
It's a story of heroics.
Is Hammy actually keeping up with us? Because he's got a cart that he's pulling and we're going a lot faster.
Yeah, it's a small cart that's not loaded, and it's being pulled by a single horse. It's a draft horse, but it's as long as you are moving at a, you know, and not trying to gallop away, just at a regular canter, he's keeping up with you. Apparently a Haufln and an empty cart don't weigh very much.
Is everybody like in front and back? Where is everybody situated in relation?
I'm going to stay behind Hammy because I want to watch him.
Okay.
I think that, you know, I haven't actually spoken to Nim very much since I met her. Maybe I'll hang back too and we can have a little discussion. You know, like equals.
So I'll ride up to Hammy at some point when I think everybody else is just doing other stuff or not paying attention, and I'll say, so you've been to Yorwick plenty of times before?
Well, sure have. I know Warwick quite well, thank you.
A lot of trading, you go there often?
I do. As often as I can. I mean, it takes quite a time to get down to boars. Where I sell most of the blue wool. I don't know what the fascination is with the blue wool, but they love it. They love it all. I don't sell it much in Warwick, but I buy a lot there, take it back to Argyllshire.
So Sticks will be obviously a little uncomfortable. He'll be like, I've never been there myself. And he'll just start galloping up a little bit.
He just kind of watches you quizzically as you ride away.
And he'll get it set up.
Anybody else do anything during the hours before nightfall?
It's until
Nigel
nightfall.
ride
You
alone
said it was dark.
up front.
Well, I mean, you're traveling the whole day. And so you got underway and you're traveling. So at this point, I assume you're going throughout the entire day traveling north on the road.
I'm confused. It was dark when we were fighting the troll.
Yes, and so you've gotten into the day. And
Oh, we walked through the whole night. Okay.
Well,
got
you're
it.
right, except I'm just asking if you want to have any interactions before the next nightfall. I guess I should have stated it that way. So during that probably 12-hour period or whatever, before the next evening, as you're traveling along the road.
Gotcha.
As Nim is traveling alongside me. Well, I mean, I can break the silence too, but I was waiting. I'd like to...
Nim is a strong silent type.
I'm going to crack that facade. It'll be great. So I'm going to tell Nim that I've been following her during this adventure, and there's something that really has impressed me about her. And I think better of it. And then I think, you know what? You keep getting up. Every time you get hit, you keep getting up. What is it that's powering you to keep up with me and in this adventure?
I'm pretty driven, Jodo. Something happened in my past that I need to avenge, and will not rest until that's done.
You know, I believe you, and I'd like to share a little secret with you. Can I trust you?
Sure.
I'm not even going to roll for that. I'm just going to trust you inherently. And I'm going to say, you know what? I make all these things look easy, but sometimes I too get a little nervous. But there's this voice inside my head that tells me to keep going, that the world is depending upon me, and I can't ever let it down.
Just one voice?
Well, depends on the day. And I
Doesn't sound like anyone you know.
Sometimes these voices are indescribable. Sometimes they sound like me, though. I'm sure you've had the same experience.
Not yet, but I live in hope. But thank you for sharing.
It's been good talking with you.
Any other interactions during the day as we approach?
No.
The whole time, Hammy's been pretty talkative.
Every episode, Joel is going to try to convert each and every one of us.
You might actually be successful once. The whole time, Hammy is pretty talkative, just about silly things. Things that don't seem to have much meaning outside of trade and happenings in Yorwick, and happenings just throughout the kingdom and so forth. He's very curious about what happened in Lionsgate, as he's only heard like bits and pieces here and there about some of the some arena that something tragic happened, that the queen is missing and the king is desperately looking for her. But it's been just a muddled confusion of different stories that he's heard, that he's tried to cobble together since he's been on the road from Boars to where he is now. Did you provide any further information for him?
I do not.
Darling, Nim's not gonna share too much with someone she's just met.
Okay. He doesn't press. He just, again, it's all very conversational and keeping it, the banter light. And by the time you passed, seems to be a more remote area. As you get closer and closer, you're within the forest, and you get closer and closer to Yorwick. It seems more remote, and you've only passed one wayside inn, and it was during the middle of the day. There hasn't been, it is rather small. There hasn't been another place to stay that has walls since that time. You can press on further, or you can try and find a camping ground, kind of what you've done in previous nights. It's up to you.
How far are we from Remy?
Well, he mentioned that by the next afternoon is when
Okay.
you would come to the crossroads that would lead you to Remy. From there, it's less than a day to the village, and about twice the distance to Yorwick. So you're still another day and a half from Yorwick.
We were
I'm
promised
happy to sleep. Sorry?
we were promised a good story by the campfire and some wine. I wouldn't want to.
Ale, dear.
Ale?
He said ale.
I'm not cultured when it comes to liquors.
I know,
but,
dear.
Yeah. I'm naturally
Realizing that the group has at least somewhat taken to having Hammy in their presence, Nihilus would just be riding alone up front along the road.
It was your idea.
And if we already passed a tavern along the way and it wasn't near nightfall, he'll just keep an eye out for one of those roadside campgrounds.
Okay. So you can go ahead and roll a survival if you like.
Dirty 20?
Okay, yeah, easy enough. Here it seems no exception, maybe even more so. You see a lot more areas to camp on the side of the road, and so you usually find an area that you can tell has been camped at before, and it has a lot of, the cleared out area, the ring of stones for the campfire and so forth, the logs that have been felled to sit on, and enough room to park your carts and a place for your horses to graze while they're tied up to trees and so forth. Doesn't seem to be a water source nearby, but for the most part, it seems like a reasonably, safe, if not so much secure area, right there on the side of the road. You wouldn't have passed very many along the way as you passed the multitudes that were heading out of Lionsgate early on, as they were moving much slower than you. Still haven't come across the group of Temple Knights that headed out of Lionsgate that first morning. You have passed patrols that have been very diligent, just moving down the roadway, but you have not passed a patrol today. In case you wanted to speak to them about the cart that was left behind and the bodies that you buried. You have not passed a patrol on this day. And as you start to make camp and prepare for the evening, we'll go ahead and take our break and come back in a few minutes, 10 minutes, and start up again. See what might transpire with Hammy and the rest of you.
Awesome.
Welcome back, everyone, from our break as we are around the campfire. The group has paused for the day to get some rest after a very, very long day, fighting a troll and then traveling further up the road to Yorwick. And they've got a new friend with them, Hammy, who is claims to be a merchant, a farmer from Argyllshire. He's a Haufln male with dark brown hair and a quirky personality. I'm not sure what his sign is, but maybe we'll find out. In any case, that's where we pick up after the break.
You mean we didn't ask for his astronomical sign?
No,
Come on, guys.
he could be anything.
He's clearly like a tourist or something.
But he has referred to Suna a few times, so there's obviously some reverence there.
Do I see anybody following us?
Roll perception.
What do you think?
Is this just during the day?
8.
Yeah. No, and again, you're in a remote area, and it's the forest. You don't have these long, straight roadways where you can see very far behind you. It's just mostly winding, to make the easier path through the forest. And so, you're rounding a bend, going in the same general direction for most of the day. But no, and sitting in it, by the time it gets dark again, and you've set up your camp, you don't see any firelight in the distance through the trees, to the north and to the south. And certainly to the east and west, where is just forest, it's dark. And the typical sounds of the night wood are abundant, from the night birds to the bugs and the howls and the chirp of frogs and so forth. Seems very, very typical of the night in the wood.
Can we get money from the frogs? At their riverbanks?
You want to take out a loan?
Well, I was going to roll investigation, but whatever works.
It wasn't funny the first time.
Well, Hammy thought it was.
I like it.
I'm going to put quotes around that whole thing and say, I say to Sammy. Like, come on.
Hammy.
Hammy.
Sammy's like,
What did I do?
So as you're sitting there, Hammy is. What do you do about food for the night? You got your vegetables that you can easily grill over the fire.
Nihilus, I mean, unless there's a specific reason not to, Nihilus would typically venture off while everyone's setting up their tents and hunt for some game.
Okay. In the meantime, is Hildy sharing her vegetables?
of course.
And of course, Hammy, as promised, brings out a small keg, but he rolls it out. It's full. Probably has a good night's worth of ale in it, and he rolls it out, taps it, and starts. He's got these cups. He's got about 12 cups that he brings out from a bag, and he starts to fill them up and hand them around to those that are there by the campfire, getting a quick start to the drinking that he seems very fond of. Good roll of survival, Nihilus, and see what you catch.
Ooh, that was good. 23.
Nice. So Nihilus returns about an hour later with a nice 12-point buck, and he field dresses it right there, and pulls out the gut bag and field dresses it, carves out the meat, starts to lay it over the fire, and you can smell the deer meat cooking, sizzling. Maybe he has some special recipe or way of cooking it that he likes, but it smells wonderful. It seems typical, but not an unusual thing necessarily, except that he bagged a good one.
Since Hildy shares her vegetables with everyone, can I share the meat with Nihilus?
It's up to Nihilus.
Yeah, he would, obviously.
Wait, he would? What?
Pieces for everyone.
Okay.
Hildy doesn't drink any of the ale because she doesn't trust strangers.
Okay.
But
Yeah, Nim will not drink the ale either, but she will get seconds of the whatever Nihilus is cooking.
And Jello doesn't trust anyone either, but he'll drink the ale. Don't worry about that.
Save the heart, dear. It's the best part. Dear hearts are delicious.
Sticks will take a mug and pretend to drink.
Okay. We'll find it in.
What? Sleight of hand?
Yeah.
Easy. We're good at that.
You're going to offend the storyteller.
He said easy. Roll a
Natural
one.
20.
Whoa,
27.
Okay, so you're doing a great job of pretending to drink that ale. As you're just pouring it out little by little off to the side or wherever. But Hammy the Haufln doesn't seem to be paying much attention to that as he is enjoying the ale that he's drinking. And as he consumes the vegetables and the meat heartily, he's got a little bit of a punch on him. You can see as he removes his leather armor, kind of loosens it up. Didn't remove it completely, just kind of loosens it up. Still carries around his sword, just as all of you do. He starts to chat. You can see he's kind of loosening up, and he starts to move around the campfire where you guys are sitting, patting one in the back, and messing the hair of Jolo, walking around and slapping the back of another as he tells these tales. And one of the first things he asks is, I know you heard about the turtle that's gobbling up the Haufln. Gobbling up the Haufln. You talk about bite size. And no, really? Well, I know you're going there because of the reward. I know you heard about it. I know you're heading there. You're heading across the Dormounts, aren't you? You're going to kind of cut the swath over as quick as you can. And that's okay, and I appreciate it. My people really appreciate it because, we can't go on like that. And Lioness and Nero, they're not doing anything to help us out. The navies are busy doing whatever they're doing. I guess they're just not considered a priority when it comes to our fishing boats. And I get it. We're a farming community. That's all right. But the Haufln are refusing to transport their trade on the water until somebody does something about it. So your help is going to be definitely appreciated, and I hope you make it a priority to go take care of this thing. But you don't have to keep it a secret. Not from me. I'm a Haufln, and I'm from Argyllshire.
We heard the reward was 1,000 gold, is that right?
It's probably more by now. It's been going on for weeks, even before I left. And with the journeys going on, all the heroes, all the warriors, all the people that are the greatest fighters are down in Lionsgate. And now with the debacle down there, people are returning home early. You might want to hurry, because any of those that might have taken by ship back over toward Ero and Argyllshire might be getting there before you. If they survive the encounter with this turtle, won't be any reward for you.
Has anyone seen this turtle, Hammy?
Well, I know Virgil Seedsar has. It was the first one to get gobbled up. The thing came right up on the shore. He was just sitting there fishing off the shore one day. On the beach, it came rising up out of the water, so I hear. It came rushing up, gobbled him right up, took him into the lake. The Lao never been seen again. His wife is sad, friend of my wife's actually. A sad thing. Of course, we've seen him. Not personally, of course, but we've heard people have seen him.
It's quite concerning.
I would say so. That's why you should give it your first priority, especially if you plan to collect that reward. And speaking of
I think turtle soup is really good.
It's got to be delicious. You can feed the whole town with that.
As a long shot, would a ranger have any inkling as to if this was some sort of natural beast, or is it like a phenomenon?
Hammy or the turtle?
Maybe not such a long shot for you. Roll a nature with advantage.
Oh, nice. Woo, natural 20, thank you.
No kidding.
Yep.
You in particular, Nihilus, have heard lots of stories about sea serpents and creatures of the sea and creatures of the lake, waterborne creatures that live under and on the water, near the water, in caves and grottos and so forth. You've heard tales of dragon-like creatures that have the shell of a turtle. You've heard of massive turtles. You've heard of massive crabs, giant crabs. All of these, these shell-type creatures, might be confused as a turtle or a turtle itself. Wouldn't be surprising, necessarily for you to have heard that, there's a giant turtle out there, and if they find an easy meal, floating in the water in a little wooden boat or on the shore, any of those creatures might take advantage of that situation. And if there's a lot of it and it's consistent and guaranteed, you know enough about animals and beasts to know that they're going to stick around and get their fill as long as they can take advantage of it.
All right, so this doesn't sound far-fetched, though. It sounds pretty believable.
No, you've heard way weirder shit than this.
Okay.
You're not from building. So,
Not much.
well, speaking of Lionsgate and Attorney,
Why are we speaking of that?
and then I was saying it's because, there hasn't been, this has been one of the biggest tourneys. I couldn't make it. I couldn't go down for the tourneys because I had the business in Boers. I thought about maybe on the way back from Boers going to Lionsgate, but then with all the above going on down there, I obviously couldn't make that turn. But from what I understood, this was supposed to be a banner year for the tourneys. And that many are saying it's because the king's oldest son, the only son, was turning 21 and looking to take a wife. Did you see the prince? Did you see the young lion while you were there?
At a distance.
That he looked as grand as what they say. 10 feet tall, muscular, a giant of a man. Long, swarthy cape, great sword that he wields like a giant. Is he such a hero? People say.
He looked pretty impressive.
That's a good thing then. And did you hear him speak? Do you have any words of encouragement for the crowds? Did he speak to the masses? Did you find him regal?
Did you find him regal, Tim?
I found him regal. He definitely has a presence.
I was just picturing flashbacks of the chaos happening in the tourney at the time, and the prince getting tossed around like a rag doll.
Hildy's just picturing him crying like a baby, patting him on the back. There.
That's a shame to hear about the queen being gone missing. You know anything about that? How could that have happened?
Clearly the guards were not up to scratch.
But, well, they invaded. Did pirates come, or bandits, or was she abducted? What happened?
Can't remember.
It probably happened very quickly.
Yeah, it's a sad thing anyway. The prince will make a good king one day, I think. And what you tell me, it sounds like he's well on his way. The old king is old. And this one, he's adopted. He's not the natural child.
I'd heard that.
No.
So I have a question, as a matter of fact. Could I have a second ale, by any chance?
Oh, you don't even ask. He's like, as soon as he notices, he's walking around the campfire, just kind of like almost like holding court as he talks and questioning stories, whatever, as he just interacts with all of you and, just trying to be real familiar and likable and personable, making contact with you. If your ale is low, he brings you another cup, it fills it up. He's got several cups, that are pre-filled and ready to go. He's taking them and drinking, throwing the cups on the ground as he does so. Those that aren't drinking, he, continues to offer in a very, very polite manner. Yeah. So, The sounds of
Go,
Africa.
Stick. Go, Sticks, you were saying?
Me.
Does it look like he's
glad you're
trying
familiar
too
with
hard,
that.
Ravik?
What's that?
Does it look like he's just trying too hard?
I mean, it seems like a natural thing for him. Just passively. If you want to insight it, you can.
Sure. 16. 16.
It seems like he really wants to. He's working hard to be your friend. You know, but he's not like desperate. You know, it just seems like he just naturally wants you to like him. You know, going to the Dormont's, I know you're taking it as a shortcut over the Arkshire, but it's a dangerous way. And, you know, with everything happening in the world today, you know, it's not surprising to hear stories about the dead rising from the graves. But I'm sure it's just travelers spinning yarns and, you know, free drinks at the taverns and so. But some of these strange creatures have been seen at the edge of the wilds over the past few months. Some say they come into the villages. Some say they come in to steal food, livestock. Some say they take people from their farms, their homesteads.
Well, that's not very nice.
That's a scary thing, I think, that we should be concerned about. But to go into such a haunted, cursed, uncertain place, you must really want to get to Argyleshire quick.
Well, I've heard there's a giant turtle there.
There is, in fact, and he kind of repeats the whole thing over again. And he does so just as eloquently as he did the first time, if you want to call it that. Eager to tell the story.
So the shortest route is through the
many
field of
drinks does he have
Dormites,
by now?
right?
It is. There's no road that'll take you there. You have to go over land. But to go into the Dormont's. You talk to
pretty capable.
Rollo at Remy. I'm sure he'll know much more about it. And of course there's hunters and trade folk there. Rangers who know the area better than I, of course, because I don't travel through the area.
But you know of it.
Hammy, I have a question. Have you heard tale of demons in your travels?
Demons? That's funny you should mention a demon. I haven't heard so much demon. But you know Gillum and Tabitha.
I met a man named Gillum once, but he was dead.
Maybe we're speaking of the same one.
But they were still today.
But you know, the reason not the reason I knew the man, I didn't really know him, I just knew of him a bit, and of course I knew that he was hanging around with the woman named Tabitha, was that, you know, sometimes they would trade in the same places that I would. And I got to tell you, some of the things that they were involved in weren't on the most up and up. I know that they were dealing with a man that goes by the name of the Cudgel in Warwick. They're part of the same cult.
Oh, is Cuddle a cult leader?
I don't know that he's a cult leader. I know what I know of him. He's kind of a stupid man. But he's brutish. And efficient at being brutish. I don't think the Cudgel, I think the Cudgel might be even a recent convert to this cult that they're involved with. Maybe those weapons that were strewn all about outside their wagon. Maybe they're hidden in the barrels and the crates underneath the vegetables. Maybe they're smuggling them in to York. But what might they be doing with them there?
Why did the talk of demons bring this up? Do they worship demons?
It's not. It's the cult. It's a cult that they're involved with.
What cult?
It's a group of people that act together.
No, she didn't say what is a cult, dear. She said what cult.
The cult. I say it's a cult. I don't know. It may be just organized crime. I don't know. It's just. And I don't know what their association is with. If it's association with a devil or a demon or a god. But there are some who say that the god of the dark earth is not God at all, but a demon. And maybe there's some association with the druids that worship him. I don't remember the name exactly. It's like two names together. He pauses, just looking directly at you, almost in shock. You know the name? How could you know such a name?
I've heard of them.
I remember now that you mention it. The servants. They call themselves the servants of something. I can't remember. But if I do, I'll tell you. Starts with a G. I'm sure of it. Whatever they call themselves. Servants of whatever this person or demon is. This do it in the name of Dagon. Well, that's unclear if it has any association with the H. Alberto. In any case, just that bit tells me enough about them to know that I don't want to have any dealings with them, and whatever they're doing is not to be trusted.
My mum was a druid, so I do know the stories about them.
Yeah, it's good we don't see him around here so much. I mean, never, really.
And you say this cudgel is involved somehow?
He owns a warehouse in Norwich. I know that Gilliam and Tabitha were taken. We're doing business with him in that warehouse. They talk a lot when they drink. You know, it's a good thing to carry around a keg of ale with you. Camp with folk like you who are nice and easy to get along with. And sometimes it's good to be wary and learn what's happening in the wider world so you know what to avoid and what the dangers and pitfalls are. I spent a few nights with these two.
As he's telling this yarn, this
Are you staring at sticks while he's doing this?
as he's telling this yarn, and he's talking, I would say when you call people devil worshippers and league with the devil, talking poorly about these two individuals, Tabitha and her associate. Earlier in the day, he had mentioned, yeah, let's go with him. Sometimes my memory isn't so great. He had said before he doesn't like talking ill of the dead, and yet here are these two individuals who are now,
He's not talking ill of them, he's talking ill of Cudgel.
which is one of his associates. So could I look deep into his soul and see if he's trying to confuse us a little bit, maybe make me forget about this whole king who never was that he promised to tell and he doesn't tell, even though he's eating our meat that I hunted for and the vegetables that I collected. After all I've done for him, I'm getting a little impatient with him.
Sure.
As I consume my third and fourth and
Can
fifth
you roll an insight?
ale. What do we see here? 14 plus another 5, 19.
Wow.
Yes, that is 19. You're so good at math.
I really am. I mean,
It's only adding 5.
you go to cleric
Still.
school, you learn quite a bit. You learn the grammar, you learn the math.
He got a 19, sir.
Yeah.
It's not clear. He's definitely leaving some things out. But it's not clear whether he's leaving things out because he's not sure of the details. or if he's doing it deliberately. You rolled well, and he seems as if he's just a little bit hard to read in that regard, because maybe he just seems so flabbergasted,
Eccentric.
and eccentric, exactly. So maybe that's what it is, but he seems uncertain about some of the details.
Very strange. It's very, very difficult dealing with people like that, I would imagine.
But he seems to want to tell you about it, whether the details are true or not. He wants to tell you about it.
Sorry, Nim, I didn't mean to interrupt. Conversation apart, which
So
you...
what do you call a cow with no legs?
A cow with legs?
No legs. What do you call a cow with no legs?
Ground beef?
There you go. Oh, you got one finally.
Yeah.
The priest of Suna. Excellent. You're coming along. I bet you have some of your own. Let's hear them.
Some of my own. Do you know why you are so lucky that I'm going to be helping you with your turtle problem?
But yes, because then they won't be eating more mechanic.
Because I'm a highly charismatic man and I will help the turtle come out of its shell. Thank you. Thank you.
The turtle out of its shell. He seems to think about that a minute, and then he bursts into laughter and says, well, what did the mama cow say to the baby cow?
We don't
He's
move.
not amused by any of this at the
You're about
stage.
That's past your bedtime.
Oh,
Come on.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go to sleep.
Good night.
you don't want to celebrate opposite day with us?
I don't. In fact, of all the things I don't want to do right now, that's really high up on the list.
Of course, if it's opposite day and you don't want to do it, that means you do.
Good night, Joe.
We'll wake you up for third watch.
I'll walk
You guys on the
over.
regular watch, by the way?
I will, of course, take the first watch.
Okay.
I'll walk over and whisper in Nylas's ear. I'm sorry I yelled at you. She'll pat him on the head before she trundles off to bed.
And anybody
He's a
stay?
bit taller than you.
Is Jolo on the watch on his own?
That happened last time, and his fans almost overran the compound, so I wouldn't advise
Well,
it.
Hammy seems to be in no rush to go to sleep, as he kind of sits next
Well,
to
I
you.
think there should be two people watching Hammy.
You and Hammy should take first watch. Sounds great.
How far out of Yorwick are we?
You should be to the crossroad by the next afternoon, and then it would be the next day after that, if you go on to Yorwick, that you would arrive in the city. If you go off toward Remy, then you'll arrive in Remy the next morning.
I think Remy makes the most sense. I mean, Fat Man is going to come after us.
So
Otherwise,
not tomorrow morning, but the morning after we'll arrive in Remy.
Because you're not going to be to the crossroad until the next afternoon.
Styx is going to risk exhaustion and stay up all night.
Okay? And are you just hanging out by the campfire, or is there some purpose to it?
I'll hang out by the campfire, and then I guess for 4 hours I'll go in the shadows a little bit far away, so I can see the
In the
camp.
forest? Okay.
Yeah.
we can continue our conversation, because this is not our first watch together. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, it's our first watch together, though. Friend Jolo. Hopefully not the last. I hope we have many nights. I've enjoyed my
You remind me of Hildy for some reason.
friendship with all of you. But not just exclusive to you, you know? Who's taking the second watch?
You've made a new friend.
Hey, it was bound to happen one
Second
day.
watch.
Okay, so Nim?
Nihilus will as well. He'll have made a very significant point of climbing up into a tree to take his first rest.
Okay. I've never seen a Atlantean in a tree before. I will remember this moment forever. It just
More
burned into my
comfortable.
memory.
more comfortable higher up.
And third watch is going to be
Hildy.
Hildy, and then Styx is up all night.
I'll also stay up for the third one.
So Styx, you will start to feel some exhaustion coming on. You know, after the fight, after the long travel and all that, you know.
The troll in your eye.
The troll in your face. So at some point, you will start to feel exhaustion coming on, and so it's up to you whether or not you want to try and get some rest, or if you're going to force yourself to stay up, which you can easily at this point.
Maybe I will. I'm not able to sleep while we're riding, right?
No, it's you can get a short rest while you're riding, but
Oh, we could put him on the cart, no?
they could lay on the cart in actual sleep.
That's good thinking, Jello.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay up and risk it.
Okay. All right.
So
during
point of
the-
reference, did we end up taking the larger cart, or is it only the Haufln's cart?
No, you guys didn't take a cart.
Okay,
Yeah, just the Haufln was with you with the cart.
gotcha.
His cart.
Pretty. Nim's wanting to go back to look at the cart.
Too late.
Okay, so Chilla, while you're up on first watch with Hammy, and Styx has wandered off into the forest where everybody
Oh,
else.
he's not going to be with us?
Nice.
That was very quick.
Where is Nim and Hildy?
Over sleeping somewhere in the camp area.
Nim's
so
just
nearby.
sleeping next to the fire.
Okay. So
Maybe under the wagon so it doesn't rain on her.
at this point, it seems like it's pretty fair weather. It's still cold, of course, but it gets colder at night. But there's no precipitation like the night before. Joel, go ahead and roll a perception for your watch.
Roll a 1. That'll do nicely.
So it's not a 1, it's a 5, but I can add in the 5, so that's 10. 5 times 2. That's
What?
perfectly average. 10.
You got a 10.
You got, okay, got it.
I'm assuming I roll 2.
Well, you left, right?
Well, I'm
You can
hanging
roll
out.
perce- yeah, you can roll perception as well,
the
just
bushes.
for your
Oh, it's one of
First
those.
roll.
Yeah.
Dirty 20.
okay. So during the first watch, you can hear the chatter, mostly between Hammy and Jolo. However much Jolo wants to interact. Hammy seems to be getting more and more intoxicated as the night has progressed, and begins slurring his speech a little bit by the end of the first watch. And neither of you notice anything out of the ordinary for the forested area that you're in. It's not quiet. You have the night sounds, but you don't hear others. You don't hear other camps. You don't hear other people in the distance or anything like that. It's just your own little group here that seems to be just completely isolated from the rest of the world in this little area of camp and the fire, the glow of the fire that spreads out from it. Did you want to have an interaction with Hammy beyond?
course.
Okay.
I think there's a debt that he owes me. And now that he's been suitably plied with alcohol, with ale, and with food, and vegetables, if you include it in that category. Haven't you had a few alcohol? Oh, I've had quite a few. But see, that's only going to help increase my creativity in this matter. And if my memory fails a little bit, some of the details of the story. So anyway, I kind of nod my head to Sammy or Hammy or whatever it's to be called, and I say, hey,
Let's tell hi.
still. Oh, we'll work on that. Like Sammy. Tell me, opposite day. You had mentioned that you might be able to tell me a tale, an opposite tale, a tale of what never was when it comes to the king who never was.
How about a parable? I've got a parable for you. Here's my parable. If you can work it out, then you win.
What do I win?
I'll have to work that out. I guess you win the knowledge of what it brings you.
See, I'm giving you a puzzle too.
How strange how that works. Yeah, you're a man, clever man, Jolo.
You know, I'd like to think that I am.
I'd like to think that you are too.
Especially common.
We do. You know, aside from our height, we seem to be almost like relatives. You might make a good Haufln.
That'd be a great one.
Wow. We might have to shorten you up a little. But
We could call mine the 3/4 one. You can use that joke, by the way.
a 3/4 one. Well, when it's funny, I will. Well, let me tell you the parable. There's a farmer. He has a wife. And he goes to his wife one night. And he grabs her breast. He says, if these could give us milk, we could be rid of the cow. She smiles. And he grabs her, his wife's butt. If this could give us eggs, we could be rid of the chickens. And then his wife smiles again. And she grabs his pecker. And she tells him, husband, if this could stay hard, we could be rid of your brother. He starts to laugh his old joke. You work it out there. He gets up and he starts to walk around the campfire drinking his ale. He throws a bit of it in the fire. And without, dear boy, I'm going to go lay in my cart for a while. He starts to stumble over.
I figured it out. It's a very dirty word.
And you can soon hear him snoring.
Can Sticks go over to him while he's sleeping? Stomp over?
You can try. It's we're at the end of the first watch, so this is about the time that Nim and Nihilus would be, waking up and climbing out of the tree and coming down to the campfire.
Stealth was 22.
Okay. So you stealth over to the cart.
And there was a chest in his cart, correct? Small chest?
So yeah, so you get up to the edge of the cart where you see Hammy sleeping, and you note that he's lying under a blanket. The oak cask that he pulled out earlier is at the edge of the wagon. There's the shovels that are pushed off to the side, and you can see that the tarp that he covers the wagon with has kind of been pushed up and crumpled up toward the front of the wagon, and his horse is not hitched currently. So you'd have to actually, move the tarp to see what was under it.
I will move the tarp gently.
Okay, make a sleight of hand.
I'm going to use luck point.
Okay.
Either roll for a kleptomaniac.
Is there a difference?
And that was a natural 1.
So you make a little bit of a ruckus as something falls
I'm
on.
tired.
Yeah, underneath the. You should roll a disadvantage probably, because you're under exhaustion at this point.
It's only the first couple hours. It would have been my first watch. So.
Yep. But you make a little bit of a ruckus as you start to move the tarp, and he stirs. He's like, friend, the ale cask is on the other end. You'll find it right there. There's still a bunch left. Take what you like. And he just kind of like slurs. It doesn't hardly look up, and then just kind of turns over, and you can hear him snoring once again.
And he stealths out.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
And DJ fades away.
Do you want to fill in his action while he's gone?
His action, walking back in shame, and Styx looks up at me bashfully and says, I was a little nervous about talking to you during the watch, but I really think it's time for me to share some deep thoughts. I've always looked up to you, like a father figure, or maybe a grandfather, a hero of some type, maybe a king. And do you have any advice for me, Jolo?
Do you offer him any
Cleric Jolo.
advice?
And I think that deeply in his eyes, and I think, how can I help this man? And I say to myself, well, just think hard about what Luke would do. And if you follow his example, you'll be just fine. And I give him a little wink.
So Styx pulls out his dagger and he just stabs himself in the eyes. He says, I can no longer bear to look at you. And live like this with sight. My sight just burns to see you any longer. I must just...
Now, I can be the stealthy one from your point of view.
Oh, sorry, Styx is back.
You missed that whole bit.
Yeah.
Probably for the best, but don't worry. They're not going to notice anything. It's going to be great.
The blind rogue.
Be worth it.
So then I say, I'm glad we had this chat. Good luck.
So, what really happens
But it didn't happen?
is that he woke momentarily and just drunkenly told you to go. The ale was on the other side of the wagon, and then turned over and went back to sleep.
But the canon version in Jolo's mind is that happened.
That's in your book of... Yes.
Book of Reason, yes.
I don't know if I want to push my luck.
You just did when you did the...
Does he seem like he's about to like just go out? Like he does seem drunk, or is that? Can I do an insight to see if he seems really drunk?
Yeah, you can roll an insight.
On the Haufln, right?
Right. Well, I assume.
Well,
8. I'm not rolling well today.
He's sleeping and snoring it now, so it's hard to tell how drunk he is. But you kind of saw him stumbling around by the campfire earlier when he was talking to Jolo and his ribald jokes.
Do I see any pouches on him?
He's under a blanket right now.
Oh, he's under a blanket. All right. I'll leave it. I won't push my luck.
Okay.
And I'll say just looking for the ale. Just looking for the ale.
He's like already back asleep. Not even concerned about you, apparently. So we go to the second watch with Nim and Nihilus. And does Styx try to keep himself awake?
With that roll, would I think that he's going to be out and asleep?
As I described it. So.
Stumbling around, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll sleep.
Right, so starting now would be your last opportunity to get in 8 hours, if you want it.
Yeah, I'll sleep.
Okay.
You put my tent together and I'll set up the bell alarm.
Okay, all right. So Nim and Nihilus, whatever interaction you want to have, go and roll your perception for the evening.
Natural 1.
Natural 1? Okay. And Kim?
14.
14? Okay, so 14 and 1. The crackling of the fire, the snoring of Hammy, seems pretty quiet and typical evening as time during your watch passes. Any interactions you want to have?
Nihilus will stay up in the tree with his violin, playing a tune, unless he'll keep it out of the corner of his eye. He'll watch Nim to see if she has any inkling of wanting to start a conversation, but if she doesn't seem like she's pressing, then he'll just stay there.
Okay.
I think Nim will try and have a conversation with Nihilus and just ask him why he thinks that the fat man or whoever wants the blood of the king that never was, what they plan to do with it.
Are you going to climb the tree, or are you going to just yell up to him?
I am not going to climb the tree. I will wait until Nihilus comes down if he sees me wanting to talk. If not, then I won't have that conversation.
Well, I can't imagine him more than like 10 or 20 feet up. He's not like in the top of the canopy.
Okay, then I
Can he
talk.
just have a conversation down to her?
Talking down
20
to
feet
them.
should be fine.
I talk down to him all the time.
Yeah, look, we're getting
Himalaya, I have absolutely no idea what the fat man would want with the blood of a king that never was. I can't fathom any reason what such a relic item would benefit anyone.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I just thought maybe you would know something about it.
This exceeds any of my knowledge or even my imagination. I have no clue what he might be after with this, but the only reason I'm here is the threat of death he placed upon us all, and his words of calling us out individually seemed to bear weight, so I didn't feel it was a time to question him too hard. I believe that he would make good on his promises, so against my better judgment and my current desires, I find myself here with you all.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
I guess we shall if we make it.
No, we'll make it. Do you know anything about the Ashiberto?
I've heard the name before in studies back when I was a child, but rumors mostly old text that hinted at some sort of dark past for the Druids, but unfortunately I don't know much about it.
Yeah, what I know is that they the black blood sacrifice, and definitely something I want to keep my eye on if we come across anybody who's involved in that cult.
You said I can't remember if Nihilus heard her say that her mother was a druid. Who was she talking to when she said that?
Jodo, I think.
Well, I might have overheard you mention that your mother was a druid. Was she part of this dark circle of theirs?
No, she definitely would not be part of that circle.
I can't imagine a Sylvan would be, so that's a relief. I hope you find whatever it is, whatever clues you're searching for. I hope we can uncover some truth to it. It sounds like you're interested for whatever reasons.
Well, it's the first time I've got any information on this cult, and I am definitely very interested in them. And if this cudgel guy's involved, I want to hunt him down, and I'm going to kill him.
That was the name that the fat man had given us in the room, was it not?
Something to do with Styx.
I wonder if Styx has any further information on whoever this cudgel is. It seems like he might be a link to what you're searching for anyways.
I'm definitely going to try and speak to Styx as soon as I can.
I wouldn't trust him too far, but I'll watch your back if you decide to take that path and follow it.
Thanks, Nihilus.
So the watch ends with no issues whatsoever. And then, Nim, I know do you typically stay up for the rest of the night? Do you want to stay up as Hildy emerges for
Yes,
her watch?
I do.
Okay. And Nihilus stays up in his tree, resting. Okay.
Hildy will go over and squat under the tree and pee.
Are you asserting dominance, marking your territory?
Listen, when you wake up, you gotta pee.
You don't have to pee right there.
That's where I chose to pee.
Can you maintain eye contact while you're doing this?
Yes, I did.
I'm just trying to understand this.
Okay, Hildy will keep watch.
Okay, go ahead and roll your perception for the night as well.
6 and 10.
Okay. Most notable, after you finished your business under the tree, was the hacking that you heard up in the tree as the scent made its way up to 10 or 12, 20
Didn't
feet.
drink a lot of water today.
Was there a lot of asparagus in that cart?
Hey, she's got the vegetables. Is there any interaction you wanted to take place during the evening?
I did want to talk to Nim. Nim, first of all, I'm sorry I had to speak so harshly to the boys, and I hope their feelings weren't hurt. But this whole Merlin and demons business, it's very personal and it bothers me. But I do want to ask you about this whole praying thing and the goddess. You're a Sylvan, right?
I am.
I could tell because of the ears. But you're like connected to the land and the world and the forest. So why do you pray over somebody that's dead? They're just food for the trees.
I think I just want to give them some rest and peace if I can. I don't know if it works or not, Hildy. I just know that there's something more out there, and I have felt Neve's blessings, and if she can help give them any peace, then it's the least I can do.
Well, alright, I don't understand it, but I accept it.
It's a crutch, Hildy.
I think prayers are more for the living than for the dead.
Makes me feel better.
Well, then you should do it. I'll pray with you. Yay me!
Sorry, Neve.
So, I need your help with something, Nim.
If I can.
Jolo.
Yes.
I just don't know how to get to him. He seems distant. And I think part of it is because he's still wearing the stinky clothes. So he can't really think straight. I used some perfume. It wasn't really perfume. It was a flower I rubbed on my back because it smelled pretty, so I thought it would make me smell pretty, but he didn't notice. Do you have any advice?
Do you like Jolo?
Oh, Nim. It's the mustache. Well, it's the tight pants, really. But mostly it's the mustache. I want to twist it, and I wonder what it tastes like.
Do you want me to hold him down so you can taste it?
No, consent is important. Consent is important. I want him to willingly offer me his love.
Okay, I think I'm a little bit out of my depth here, Hildy.
Well, you're young. All right.
Yeah, sorry, I can't help.
I thought you might have a secret Sylvan love potion or something. I make potions.
We can look out for one.
Well, most of my potions are made with dishwater. But I thought you might have some help for me.
I've got a different type of perfume if you want.
Oh, could I have some?
Yeah, for sure. And then we'll hand Hildy her little bottle of perfume.
How much of it can I have?
You can have it all.
Okay.
I believe in love.
He can't resist. I can't wait for the morning.
Nim shifts a little bit backwards.
So does Jolo in his sleep.
You smell very nice, Hildy.
Thank you, Nim. I used it all, but you can have the bottle back. Bottles are important. You can keep things in them.
We need a place to put the blood of the king that never was.
You would probably want a bigger bottle. A carafe, I believe the fat man said a carafe of blood.
Did he really?
Well, there was a carafe mentioned. I asked why you would want a carafe of blood, but he was busy talking about geese and ducks and then tried to stab Sticks in the eye. It was very confusing.
I was there.
Sometimes I get confused easily.
I'm glad I've met you, Hildy.
I'm glad I met you. I hope we don't die.
Not today.
If you die, I'll pray to Neve. Yay, Neve!
Oh, you crazy monster. And with that, Suna blessedly brings up the sun.
I boot Jolo in the butt.
Jolo! Jolo, wake up! Your Suna's here!
The rise of a new day to the screeching of Hildy, echoing across the open expanse between the trees, waking even Hammy from his inebriated sleep. And as the rays come up enough to illuminate the campsite, and we begin another day on the north road to Yorwick, we will end the session and pick it up with episode number 6 next week.
Hildy will make sure she stands upwind of Jolo.
Some very interesting insights this session, folks. We learned some things, a lot about our characters in these past few hours.
More than we might have wanted.
No doubt, no doubt. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Happy
Thanks,
President's Day.
Roderick.
And fix my arrow.
Gotta glue that thing. You need to send, and when you send stuff again, you need to send me an extra nihilist.
That's what I painted the other one for. I have one ready to go that I'll probably send out later. And I did send you super glue.
I got super glue. I don't need your cheap ass super glue you sent. I got some good super glue.
Works for me.
So,
He's already taking an aspirin to deal with us.
He calls them the Atom pills.
close.
Wyatt pills?
Yes. We call them the little Wyatts.
I have something else called the Little Wyatt.
Now they're called the Little Adams. As of now. Fuck you. Okay, so one last sound check real quick. See that we're close to where we need to be. Kim, go ahead and say something, please.
The style should let Nim know the location of any celestial
Okay,
fiend or
Josh.
undead within 60 feet.
Good, Josh.
Today has been great weather here in sunny San Diego with a high of about 72,
Okay,
and we have a
alright,
low
and
tonight of 34.
DJ, say something.
I'm ready to sneak behind someone and backstab them.
Okay.
Really hard. Preferably someone in danger.
And he left his knife here, so I don't know what he's going on about. Adam.
Pour your misery down. Pour your misery down on me.
Okay, Mike.
That was not even a good thing to say.
No, it's only same song.
I don't like it.
All right, so I think I need to turn Mike up a little bit again.
Come on, Dagger.